Hornaday stays in the gas, the momentum. Can he hold on? One more time, he goes across the start-finish line, your leader. Hornaday will set a record, 4 in a row in the Camping World Truck Series.
What a race, huh?
If I'm going to restart this race, I want Ron Hornaday in my truck. He's one of the greatest we've ever had on restarts. Absolutely flawless, bottom, top, wherever he goes, with lap traffic or by himself. Ron Hornaday has been the dominant driver. Hornaday turns the wick up one more time.
Welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Toyota Tundra 200 on speed. Overcast skies just outside of Nashville, Tennessee. 79 degrees is the temperature. You see light rain on the forecast. We're hoping that that has passed by. And now we are drying the racetrack, getting ready for the trucks to make their way on to the track. You see some of the safety vehicles making their way around the racetrack, trying to help the drying process. We've got jet dryers here working on this racetrack as well. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Darrell Waltrip, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip. When in Music City, why not bring in, well, a musical family? You guys sing on the air all the time, right?
Well, I do. Michael.
Well, Michael does too.
He tries.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell you what,
best shot.
We're close to your home. Thank you for coming out and joining us here, DW.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about why is Nashville such an important racetrack?
Well, to the community it is. The old fairgrounds, you know, down there where I won all my races, and that's kind of the hub of racing as far as Nashville goes. But when they built this facility out here at Lebanon, again, they call it Gladville, I think it actually is, it just was an opportunity. People around here thought maybe there was a chance they could get a cup race back. You know, we had 2 cup races at the fairgrounds for years up until 1983, and I think that a lot of hopes have ridden on the fact that maybe they could get a cup race back here someday. I don't know if that's possible or not, but people around here keeps their hopes up anyway.
I was there when you won your first cup race.
Oh, in Nashville. Yeah.
There was,
yeah.
And Phil, you obviously, you've been around here for the starts that we've run at this racetrack. We do see normally some pretty good racing here.
We really do. And right now, obviously, the main story in our series is Ron Hornaday going for 5 in a row. And Darrell, we talked about during the pre-race show how hard it is to win 4 in a row, much less 5 in a row. But Ron Hornaday is in some uncharted territory here in the Camping World Truck Series. But, you know, he dominated several of those wins. But last week, as we saw the video, a terrific win. And really probably in substandard equipment because Mike Skinner had better tires than he did.
Right.
But an unbelievable job by Ron Hornaday each and every week and his entire team. But I tell you, he's going to be tough to beat tonight as well.
Yes,
you know, I would not bet against him. I said that last week. I would not bet against Ron Hornaday right now.
Well, I talked to Darrell a little bit about his 4-race streak when he won. He won, and he wasn't thinking, am I going to win again? He was thinking, I can't get beat. I can't let these people beat me. And I guarantee you that's the mindset you have to have. It isn't about setting records. It isn't about going out and saying, I'm going to win another one. It's about, I'm just not going to let them cats beat me. Right. I'm on a roll, and I'm going to stay on this roll. Darrell charged his way into the championship by winning those 4 in a row. Ron Hornaday has built a point lead that we've never seen before in the Camping World Truck Series at this point of the year, and looking like this is going to get him toward a championship as well.
Yeah, you know, everybody acts like it's a big surprise, but when you look at Ron Hornaday in this series and what he has done through the years, I mean, he and Skinner were there from the get-go. So if somebody in this series is going to dominate, and somebody in this series is going to win 4 in a row and have a shot at 5, who would you pick?
Exactly, Ron Hornaday.
And with the crew chief he has, I'm one of the winningest crew chiefs, and great equipment that Kevin and Delana provided for him. So it's not a big surprise to see him doing what he's doing. I know it's a lot of headaches to everybody else because there may not be any end in sight for this team because they're that good.
Well, and obviously Ron Hornaday, a veteran, has had so much success, but we've also had some first-time winners in the series this year, one of them standing by with Adam Alexander.
Exactly, Rick. We're talking about Brian Scott. There are 3 concrete tracks on NASCAR Camping World Truck Series schedule, and the first being Dover. You won there and trying to go 2 for 2 here tonight and starting 3rd. So how do you assess tonight's situation?
I'm very optimistic about our chances tonight in the Toyota Tundra 200. If you're a superstitious man, you got to think that we got a pretty good opportunity. A lot of things are playing out the same way as they did at Dover. From qualifying 3rd to Brad Keselowski winning the same day to our pit stall being the one right before the opening to victory lane to the rain. I mean, everything's the same. We have a really good truck. We have the same truck. There's a lot of good signs. I mean, if you believe in superstition, it's hard not to, being a racer. You got to think we have a pretty realistic chance at it tonight.
The win for you, no flash in the pan. You've backed it up with a lot of success since then. How is your confidence level and overall the feeling for your team?
I'm very confident in our team. We have a tremendous team. We've got a great crew chief, Jeff Hensley. You know, he's come really close to winning here a couple times too, and I'd love to be the one to seal the deal for him. But, you know, we got great pit stops. We got great trucks. We unload well. We spend the time in the areas that are important in our research and development, and we get better each week, and that's what you got to do to be able to dethrone these guys like Ron Hornaday and Colin Brown and all the guys that are running good, Mike Skinner. You know, everybody's running good, and you can't ever rest or ever think that you're good enough. You got to keep working on it, and our guys have kept their heads down, and they work their tails off, and we keep bringing stuff to the racetrack that's better and better and better.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Brian Scott, not a sleeper anymore, Ray.
And Adam, I want to talk to Mike Skinner, because when we look at the stats at this racetrack, you've had a dominant truck in 3 of the last 4 races, but haven't got the win. So what's the difference going to be tonight, Mike?
I don't know. I got my PC Miler navigation system in this Tundra. Maybe that'll help me out tonight a little bit. But, you know, we've had this race won a couple of times, and that old yellow flag come out and got us a couple of times. So it is what it is. You just got to be in the right place at the right time. We qualified really good in those races. We qualified really, really bad tonight. This old Nashville Superspeedway is almost dry. I think we're going to get her going here in just a little bit.
You know, Mike, one of the things I love about this series is the tire limit. That gives you guys a lot of strategy to think through, but a very green racetrack. So have you and Eric Phillips discussed your strategy on tires?
Yeah, we corded both right side tires pretty bad yesterday, and you know what happens is it plays into the strategy of the guys in the back more than it is the guys that's running faster speeds, because they're not wearing as much tire as we are. But, you know, it is what it is. NASCAR gave us 2 more right sides. We're going to have a competition yellow on lap 35. It'll give the crew chiefs and Goodyear and NASCAR time to evaluate the situation. If they have to give us more tires, I just have to give us more tires.
Okay, we wish you good luck tonight. And, guys, remember, they did all their practicing here in the heat of the day. It's going to be cooler tonight, which means these trucks may be even going faster.
Well, that's what we would expect here at Music City, USA. Go fast. They're racing for a Sam Bass designed Gibson Les Paul guitar. So they're definitely going to want to get to start-finish line first. We'll be right back. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is presented to you by Toyota. The latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. And by Camping World. Visit campingworld.com for all your tailgating needs. Doing an excellent job of getting this track dry. Not a lot of rain fell. It was very light, but it was enough that obviously they couldn't get the trucks out there to race, so they're going to dry the surface, and they're getting close. I think we're probably just maybe 10-15 minutes away.
So that's a good thing about concrete, Rick. The water doesn't go down in it like it does asphalt. It's not porous. Kind of runs off the top of it. Concrete's much harder than asphalt. I don't know if
You're doing a great job. You should be like a professor or something. No, wait a minute.
No,
while I've got you here.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Daryl's trying to help you, Rick.
Oh.
He's explaining to you how it works.
He's
so
explaining.
You follow along.
I do.
Hey, take an eraser and rub it on a piece of concrete, and then take an eraser and rub it on a piece of asphalt, and you'll see the difference.
Now you know what my life's been like.
Well,
Your whole life.
Hey, I tell you what, it's not very often that we get an opportunity like this to have you guys up here, but one of the things I think that also is not very often we have an opportunity to see someone win 5 races in a row in NASCAR. And the last time it's been done, Phil?
1971. And it was done by Richard Petty in 1971. And ironically, Bobby Allison also won 5 in a row that same year, and they did that within a 14-race stretch where each of them won 5 in a row.
Really amazing. And I mean, if we see Ron Hornaday accomplish that tonight, I mean, does that elevate his status in NASCAR?
Well, you think about it, when they did that, they probably raced 60 races that year, and that was before what they call the modern era. Once the schedule has been streamlined down to the way it is now, and in the Truck Series it's even less than in the Cup, I mean, that's a phenomenal feat to be able to accomplish that in any series, but in this series particularly, because you have such great competition.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty even in this sport.
You know what I like? These trucks don't break down. We have short sprint races, so your competition is all going to be right there, nipping at your heels all race long. You know, back in '71, and even Darryl a little bit in '81 when you won your 4 in a row, things broke. You know, guys that maybe could have beat you on a given day might fall out. You don't see that in the Truck Series.
Here's the other thing, Michael. Think about the pit strategy. I mean, that's all different this year. It's, you know, you got to take tires, you got to take fuel. And so you have to have different racetracks he's won on, different disciplines. Then you got to be able to call the right calls in the pits. Then you got to have Lady Luck on your side. And so far, 4 races in a row, they've had all that going for them.
And hold somebody off that has better tires than you.
Exactly.
And who was sideways coming to get you. He wanted it bad.
Yeah, and those two guys we talked about, obviously, veterans in the field of NASCAR and stock car racing. We've got an Iron Man, obviously, in the Truck Series, has the most starts in this series, and he is standing by with Adam Alexander.
And Terry Cook not standing anymore, climbing into the truck, which is a good sign after a rainy evening, and starting 5th. So you got to be confident because this is a track where your team has had good success over the years.
It has. You know, we got to thank everybody that helps us out. Cajun Industries, Harris Trucking. Our Toyota Tundra's been pretty good since we unloaded. A little loose in qualifying, which I think is a good thing for tonight's concrete race. But Adam, like everybody else, we're really concerned with the tires and spent a lot of time this morning talking to the Goodyear engineers. What we as a team can do air pressure wise, interliner pressure wise, things that we can do to help the tire wear. And they give us a few ideas, and we're concerned with it. We were recording right side tires in 20 laps yesterday in practice, so it's going to be our biggest concern today.
Let's talk about 2009 for HT Motorsports. Jim Harris, normally a guy that runs one team, 2 this year. You and David both in the top 10 in points. How good does it feel to bring Jim to the top in the sport?
Well, it feels really good. You know, Jim and Sherry Harris both have been a long-time contributors to the Truck Series, and you know we've got 2 solid teams, myself and David Starr, but we're looking for that first win. And nothing would make me happier than to meet Jim and Victor Lane and be able to hand him a guitar tonight would be cool. And I promise I will not break it. I promise I'll do it, but hand it to him gently. But like to thank everybody again that helps us out, and send a special get well thank you to Mark Chambers out there, Mark Chestnut. Friend of ours that works in the Tennessee Highway State Patrol that went through some injuries here a couple weeks ago, and he's doing well.
Terry Cook starting in the top 10 tonight, as is his teammate, Ray.
And I'll tell you what, Adam, if Rick Crawford is going to make his way to the front and get a win tonight, he's going to have to do it from way in the back. And I heard a rumor that you had the world's strongest redneck here to help show you how to shift the truck.
I got Steve right here. If it won't shift, he's going to pull it on back because he's the world's strongest redneck. We're here having some fun. All I need is my guitar at the end. You're going to hear me playing some country music. We're in Music City. So the International Truck and Engine 4 is going to be going to the front tonight from the back of the field. It's going to shift good because we done had it in the garage, and that was our penalty to go to the back of the field. So we'll have to put on a great show tonight for NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. So everybody stay tuned to speed.
Your thoughts about the racetrack tonight? It's going to be very green, and we've been talking about tires, and I'm sure you and Cowboy have had a conversation about your strategy.
I don't know if it's going to be that green, Ray. We hadn't had any hard rain. We just had some drizzle, so and the dryers out there heats the surface up for us, so we'll be in good shape.
Okay, if there's anything wrong with the transmission, Steve can just reach in there and grab it and pull it right out of the truck for him.
Do you notice Steve's arm is bigger than Ray's head, by the way?
No way.
Yeah, and I mean, Ray's probably got a pretty good-sized head.
That's what I was
But that's
thinking.
a big arm. We're hearing the engines are going to fire when we come back, so stick with us here at Nashville Superspeedway. We'll fire them up next. Hello and welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway. It's the Toyota Tundra 200 about to get underway. Lebanon, Tennessee, under the lights, and we're about ready to get the command. Sam Bass not only designed the Gibson guitar that will be given away, but he's also giving the command right now.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the words we've been waiting for, please welcome Sam Bass. Gentlemen, start your engines!
Enthusiasm with the command, and then a delicate hand with the design on the guitar. They're strapped in. The engines are fired up. We're ready to go racing from Nashville Superspeedway.
Sunday, NASCAR Race Day sets the pace in Pocono. We'll take a look at Kyle Busch's recent struggles and discuss if he has what it takes to make the chase. Plus, Brian Vickers talks about his chances at making the championship cutoff. And Wendy Venturini goes one-on-one with Greg Biffle. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. Live coverage in Speed HD begins Sunday at 11 Eastern. And celebrate with us at 8 Eastern in NASCAR Victory Lane. NASCAR on Speed. Be there.
Want a driver's autograph? Leave it to the driver seeker.
Here's your target. Good luck.
There's something on my car.
Oh, man.
Man has always craved a challenge, and Adam Richmond travels the country to take on the biggest, beefiest, and boldest foods, one delicious bite at a time.
Wow, that's hot.
You have no idea.
Living with the travel bug can be a challenge. Travel Channel's Man vs. Food. Check your local listings.
Let's see if this neighborhood grill can match the value of Golden Corral's Thrill of the Grill. Off the grilled fish. No problem. Barbecued ribs. No problem. Juicy steak. No problem. All for around $10. Problem! Big problem.
No place can match Golden Corral's new Thrill of the Grill. For around $10, enjoy endless helpings of our new jalapeno glazed fish, honey habanero chicken, hand-cut sirloin, Asian-inspired ribs, plus endless salads and desserts, all for around $10.
Daddy, can I get more ribs?
No problem.
Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness.
The legendary Carroll Shelby.
I'm standing here next to one of our 700 horsepower Super Snakes. It has Z-Max in it. Everything we build has Z-Max in it. Every vehicle I own has Z-Max in it. Z-Max is the only lubricant that penetrates the metal. We use Z-Max because it improves the fuel mileage. If that wasn't so, I wouldn't be standing here telling you that.
Welcome back. Under the lights for the Toyota Tundra 200 from Nashville Superspeedway. Again, the question mark starting off the evening was the rain going to go away? Sure enough, it has. Now the track is dry. The engines are fired at 79 degrees. Just overcast skies. And take a look at this. That is the hood of the 33 right now that is up. So potential problems for Ron Hornaday.
They don't look to be in a panic, though. I don't know, maybe something might have gotten wet or something, you know, with this rain, Darrell?
Throttle's sticking, I believe. I think there might be something about the throttle because that's a can of spray that they've got there. Maybe Ron got in the truck and he says, you know, the thing is hanging on the air cleaner. That's what I think might be wrong.
Let's find out. Adam, what's the word?
And they just talked about water in the springs, and I'm guessing that that's exactly what the situation is. And you talk about them not panicking. They haven't. In fact, when the hood went up on the truck, Rick Wren, the crew chief, was still on the pit box, and now the hood going down, and I think everything is going to be fine, but not the way Ron wanted to start this evening, and certainly we will keep an eye on him as this night goes on. They're going to button him up and let him go, but a little bit of concern as we get started here tonight for the point leader entering this event.
A veteran driver like that, he'll get in his truck. The first thing he'll do is map that throttle before he ever even fires the engine, because we've all had the throttle hang on the air cleaner a few times. Kind of one of those things that you know to do.
They're starting to roll off pit road. We'll see the starting grid on the bottom of the screen. It will roll across the bottom. You'll see Timothy Peters' name there. That's his first career pole in the Truck Series. Colin Brown will start on the outside of him. We want to take a look at our Z-Max track description, this 1 1/3 concrete raceway.
This thing, it's a super speedway, long straightaways, but these corners, they're deceivingly tight. You know, you go flying down in the corner with one of these trucks and you think, I can carry it on down in there, but your truck will want to push. Talked to a couple guys down in the garage area earlier, and that's what everybody's fighting. Tight in the center. We've got some good banking, 14 degrees in the corners, but a whole lot of straightaway speed to get you into those corners.
And easy to overdrive these corners.
But you know something that's interesting about a concrete track at night? Look how white that track is and how the lights really illuminate the surface. Not like a black asphalt racetrack. Totally different perception.
Looking at our Royal Purple synthetic oil race analysis, 34 trucks will start 200 miles, 150 laps.
Yeah, the pit window between 62 and 72 laps. So we know we're going to have a competition caution at around lap 35. So if they do that, then everybody can make it on one more pit stop, and that's part of the reason that competition caution will come at lap 35.
Under the lights, we want to shine a little brighter light on a few different drivers, and our speed spotlight will start off. Ray Dunlap, you're taking a look at Tommy Joe Martins.
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. You know, he comes from Missouri, and I was wondering why does he race in the Nashville area on a weekly basis? That's because he said some of the best late model racing in all of the country happens right around here. And tomorrow he'll compete in the ASA Challenge Series over at the old fairgrounds track that DW was talking about. Tommy Joe's only 22, but he really loves this truck racing. Making his second start tonight, he's driving a chassis that they purchased from Roush Fenway Racing. Adam?
And typically in that Ford truck, we see Ricky Carmichael behind the wheel, but his stint throughout the summer is over. He'll return in the fall. The guy behind the wheel tonight, J.R. Fitzpatrick, great qualifying run for him. He starts 8th. The last time he was behind the wheel of this truck, Michigan, just over a month ago. He said he is confident about how it is running, and this a machine that finished in the top 5 earlier this season with Kevin Harvick, his owner, behind the wheel. Bill?
Adam, I want to take a look at this Mikasuki Toyota, and that is not Kyle Busch, even though that's the truck he normally drives. He was busy finishing second today in Iowa in the nationwide race. In his normal sub, Brian Eichler was also in Iowa for the nationwide race. But we've got Travis Kvapil, 2003 champion in this Camping World Truck Series, and the only former winner here at the Nashville Superspeedway in the race. Travis said this is just a one-shot deal, just trying to help these guys out because of that nationwide race in Iowa, and Travis Kvapil will start from the 11th position.
Real quickly, just take a look at that low air pressure in those left side tires. Look like maybe 10 pounds, about it.
There's my guy, Blake Fees, in the number 15 Phoenix Construction Toyota for James Finch. In 2005, Blake made his NASCAR debut driving for Hendrick Motorsports. Check this out, though, guys. He won here in an ARCA car in 2004. That truck has had 3 straight top 5 finishes. Maybe he could get him another trophy here tonight.
We've got 4 cameras that will be following the action from on board. One of those being Brian Scott. He starts in the 3rd spot, carries one of our cameras. Another Toyota on board. David Starr, he'll start in the 9th position. We'll see if he can move his way up. Toyota on board of Terry Cook will start 5th, so starting in the top 5 position would look good finishing there as well. And the Camping World on board of Matt Crafton also giving us pictures starting in the 7th position.
I said there that's James Finch's truck. James owns Phoenix Construction. It's Billy Blue's truck. It's a teammate to the 51 truck.
Let's head back for thoughts before green. We'll start off with Ray.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, when we look at the former winners in this field, it's, as Phil said, Travis Kvapil, the only guy out there. But there's a lot of good trucks in the race tonight, and trucks that have already won races. That's easy for me to say. Already won races so far in 2009. When you look at that list of those guys, a lot of them with very, very good equipment and very good runs here at Nashville. But the rest of them, other than Travis Kvapil, have not won here at Nashville. When you look at that list, you see that Kyle Busch has won 2 of those races this season in the 51. Travis Kvapil hoping to duplicate that tonight for Billy Blue Motorsports.
Ray, just take a deep breath, Ray.
Indeed. I'll take a deep breath before I go as well, Daryl. You know, you talk about success at intermediate tracks, and you have to voice guys like Todd Bodine, Ron Hornaday, and Mike Skinner. But as we pointed out, none of those 3 have won here at Nashville, despite the fact they've been incredibly successful. Between them, you've got 13 starts. They've got a number of top 10s, and each has led combined over 300 laps. But victory lane, something they could not put on their racing resume. They would love to do it here tonight. And just a follow-up on Ron Hornaday, it was a throttle that was sticking just a bit. They think they've got it where it needs to be as we get set to go green.
DW, it's been a couple of weeks. What do you got?
I got it, buddy. I got it. Coming to the green.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! All right, everybody, let's go racing, boys!
How'd I do?
I liked it.
I thought it was very good.
Okay.
I've been sort of missing it.
Timothy Peters.
Yep, jumps out front as they go down the back stretch.
And these guys took you seriously, too, Daryl. You can see 2 and 3 wide off turn 2, sorting it out down to single file for the most part in 3 and 4.
As Rick Crawford said, we didn't get a whole lot of rain, just enough to get the track damp, so I don't think we really washed much of the rubber off there.
Hornaday wasting no time, moves up to 2nd by Colin Brown. Now he sets his sights on young Timothy Peters.
Boy, battle right there, the 25 and the 16. Terry Cook's going to try to get by that 16 of Brian Scott to take over 4th.
Feels good to see that 17 truck out there leading a few laps. I like it.
That's the first time Timothy Peters has led this season. So Timothy Peters with a great qualifying effort and now leading laps at Nashville.
But we saw it coming, huh, Rick? This truck's just ever since he stepped over there and got in that truck, he's been strong, and it's no surprise to see that truck out front.
You know, one of the things that the crew chiefs look at after the final practice is the average lap time of all the laps you run, and that truck right there, number 17 with Timothy Peters, had the best average of anybody in the field in the final practice.
Well, he's fixing to find out how good he is. The heat's on his tailgate.
Yeah, here comes a hungry hound right after him.
And a reminder, we're only on lap 3, but there will be a competition caution at lap 35 because of the lack of rubber on the racetrack. They want to make sure these tires are wearing evenly.
And remember now, Goodyear brought the exact same tire that they had here last year, but this time we didn't have the ARCA Remax series to put a lot of rubber down that they have in the past.
Boy, if I look at the attitude of the 17 truck, the nose across the bottom of there around the race by the racetrack, that thing's up a little bit, but that 33, she is down there like a hound dog, man.
Darrell, me and Phil set up here every week and look at these trucks. One guy will be coming down the straightaway with an inch gap under his front end splitter. The other guy sealed right to the road. Both of them going the same speed. Doesn't seem to be. There seems to be two ways to get the job done here.
Well, it's balance. If you've had the truck in the wind tunnel, perhaps, then you know what your balance is, and that nose being up a little bit sometimes doesn't really kill you. But if I'm going to have a preference, I'm going to have it down and dirty.
It sure does look better down, don't it?
You got it.
Side-by-side racing. T.J. Bell in the 11 on the inside. Here's some more side-by-side. Brian Scott and Colin Brown battling for the 4th spot.
Yeah, Terry Cook has been able to get by the 6th of Colin Brown to take over that 3rd spot. Here comes Matt Kraft in the 88 Menard Chevrolet on the inside of Colin Brown.
Historically, we've seen a little bit longer green flag run at the start of this race.
That 16 truck's been doing a good job ever since he won Dover. He's really been doing a good job. I talked to some of his people over at the airport earlier tonight, and they are really pumped up about tonight. They said that Brian had told him the truck was running really fast.
Yeah, as we learned, that's the exact same truck he won with at Dover on concrete just a couple months ago.
Matt Crafton finishing the pass on Colin Brown, so he moves up a spot into the top 5 already is Matt Crafton.
You know what I like about this track? It's narrow. You know, there's plenty of room to race, but these trucks fill it up in a hurry. You know, you look down in the corner at some of these racetracks that have so much width to them, and the trucks look lonely almost in the corner sometimes. You gaze down at these trucks, and you can tell it's filling up that whole corner. That's a good look.
You know, I've never raced here, Michael, but I drove your car over here a couple of times in a test. Turn 1 to me is really a difficult turn. The way you come up to the start-finish line, sweep out, and then really roll hard down into turn 1, you can really overdrive that first turn, it seems to me.
Well, your front straightaway is so long. You get on the gas way back in the middle of 3 and 4, and you drive through this whole big dog leg. So you really got a head of steam up when you get down to turn 1.
Strutmasters Toyota Tundra of Timothy Peters has led every lap as we're on lap number 8. Adam Alexander, they feeling comfortable?
I would say confident, not comfortable, and maybe both words would describe Timothy Peters in the early going here tonight. And the confidence stems from the race truck he's in here this evening. This is the same vehicle he drove when he made his debut at Red Horse Racing, finishing 8th at Michigan. He also drove it to a career best a couple of weeks ago, 4th at Kentucky. So for those drivers up in the booth, how does a driver that has a comfortable race truck, how does that help his confidence?
I think it just helps a great deal, the fact that he withstood that first charge from Ron Hornaday. Ron Hornaday jumped around Colin Brown into the 2nd spot, and he was on Timothy Peters. Timothy was probably a little nervous at that point, wondering what he had for Ron, and now he's been able to drive away from him. I'm saying he's not only really confident, he's also very comfortable right now, knowing he held that guy off.
Well, every now and then you find a vehicle, whether it's a car or a truck, that you really are comfortable in. Everything fits. I don't know, this seat happens to be just right. The pedals, everything is perfect, and you want to drive that truck every week, and if you do, you win every week. You just find that one magic vehicle, race it till it falls apart. That's my theory.
Some great racing back here, though. Travis Quapple leading that group. He's in the 11th spot.
There's a lot of guys that aren't comfortable because they're all over each other.
Got that right. I'm not comfortable watching them, I can tell you that.
6th and 7th. Continuing to move around the racetrack. A couple guys off the track. Danny Eflin, Shane Sieg, and the 08 of Butch Miller are in the garage. But Timothy Peters continues to dominate. He's got over a 2nd lead on Ron Hornaday here at Nashville. Tomorrow on Speed, NASCAR Race Day returns to Pocono. We'll take an in-depth look at Kyle Busch's struggles this season and tell you if he's got what it takes to bounce back and make the chase. Don't miss NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, live tomorrow at 11 Eastern. Timothy Peters holding on to the top spot, and that's a good sign. You can almost see the sun setting here in the Nashville area, meaning that we're hoping no rain anymore.
Red sky at night, sailor's delight.
I'm just listening. Remember?
Or, you know, in this case, racer's delight.
You know, it seems like ever since Timothy Peters jumped over here to Red Horse Racing, you can see his confidence grow week by week. Walking in the garage here, he's smiling. He knows that they have good equipment, and they're really doing a good job with it, and this could be a career night for Timothy Peters tonight.
What I like about Timothy, he's never disappointed. You know, he's always gotten everything out of his truck he could get. He's always been right there contending, and now he gets an opportunity with a truck that is fast, and he's taking advantage of it. And that's fun to see when a young kid shows up. Just like Taylor Mossum, you know, at Kentucky a couple weeks ago. The job he did was amazing, and he's just a kid, and that's fun to watch.
Brian Scott, another kid in the series with a win already this season. Ray, what's happening?
Well, so far in the radio, so good. Brian's saying the truck feels really good. It's especially good on entry right now. He said just a little bit tight coming off. Jeff Hensley said they'll try to fix that with air pressure, but pretty happy so far here tonight at Nashville.
3 more trucks are off the racetrack. Nick Tucker, Ryan Matthews, and John Jackson have gone to the garage.
You know, one thing we're at 20 laps here, coming up on 20 laps complete. If tire wear is an issue, it's right along now that you're going to start to feel it. So if I'm Timothy Peters, I'd be wondering about that. And I bet Ron Hornaday is thinking the same thing. I don't think he's pushing it quite as hard.
Because if the tires are a little bit questionable and they're going to wear, Darrell, if you don't have your front cambers just right, or if your truck's abusing one tire more than the other, that tire, the tires will go 35 laps easy if you got all your stuff right. But you get one of your variables out of whack a little bit, and you'll have trouble before then.
Yeah, we talked to guys that quartered their tires, their right side tires, in 15 to 20 laps yesterday, and also talked to guys that had 50 laps on their tires, and they really saw very little problems. So it's as Michael said, it's all about the balance.
Is that an aggressive setup versus maybe a more comfortable setup? I mean, as far as trying to get a little better handling in the turns?
What you do with these trucks, Rick, is you set them up to be fast. You know, the driver goes out and he runs, and if it's fast, they say, how's it feel? And he says it feels good.
Yeah.
Because it's fast, you know, and if it takes a shock package that holds the front down, or if you just put soft springs in it to keep the front down, whatever you have to do to get the balance that Phil spoke of, that's what you're looking for as a driver.
We talked about the 81 of Taylor Malsom. Ray, what's going on with that team?
Well, as we said earlier, Rick, they crashed their primary truck. Taylor didn't even have one lap onto the track, ran over something, blew a right front tire, and caused a lot of damage. And that was the truck that they had run so well with at Kentucky. They thought they had a shot to win that night, and very confident bringing that truck back here tonight. But the truck they ended up with is chassis 103, and it's another good truck out of Randy Moss Motorsports. Taylor came on the radio just a moment ago saying it's a little bit loose in, and that makes me tight in the center. Crew Chief Doug Wolcott said, thanks for the information. We'll work on it for you.
Yeah, really what it does is when you're loose in, you kind of have to hold the wheel to the right a little bit, almost like you're spinning out. That makes you have to go from the right to the left to make the truck turn, and it confuses you as a driver. You say, well, I'm loose in, but I'm tight in the middle. Actually, you're catching the car, or the truck in this case, in the middle, and that's why you feel that way.
Great battle right there. There's Todd Bodine and Colin Brown. That is the battle for 9th. David Starr right in front of this group runs in the 8th position.
Well, we're on 24 laps, coming to 25, and everybody seems to be, lap times haven't fallen off, which tells me the tires are holding up pretty darn good.
Hornaday has cut ever so slightly into that lead that Timothy Peters has put on him. It's just 9/10 of a second now that separate 1 and 2. Adam?
Timothy Peters saying early snug at both ends, but no major complaints. Chad Kendrick, the crew chief, said we will adjust with air pressure when we come to pit road at about 10 laps. You talked about Ron Hornaday, who is starting to gain some ground on the 17. Well, driver 33 said he's a little loose in, but no major complaints for him either. And we all know Ron Hornaday understands the balance of patience and aggression. It's not time for him to go just yet. And running in third, the most quiet of the drivers in the top 5 right now, talking about Terry Cook. He has said nothing on the radio, a good sign for his race team in the early portion of this race.
talked to Terry right before, actually right before the drivers' meeting, and I said, how's that truck? He said it was really, really good last night in the final practice, and had a good qualifying effort as well, qualified up in the top 5.
Yeah, those first 3 trucks are a good bit faster than Scott in the 4th place there in the 16 truck. He just ran a 31.52. Our leader ran a 30.9. So, and Hornaday's a 30.9 with Cook right there at a 31.1. So those first 3 trucks are a little better than everybody else right now.
And right now, Brian Scott's got a few guys held up behind him. You see Terry Cook, clean track ahead of you. And that just helps your truck handle, Phil. If you've got a clean truck, get a clean track ahead, you're going to get more air on your truck. It's going to go through the corners better.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the guys in the garage said. If we can just get out and get some clean air. I was talking to Top O'Dine, who right now runs in the 9th spot. He said, I think my truck would be really good in clean air.
Well, this field is spread out now, but again, the competition caution at lap 35. That will bunch them all back together. We'll be back for more of the Toyota Tundra 200 after these messages. As we look back to Nashville, Tennessee, a beautiful sunset here. Toyota Tundra 200 continues.
Is that to the west, Rick?
That is to the west. Thank you, by the way.
Most of the time.
The sun always does normally set
most of the time
in the west. We are on lap 34.
That's a battle for the lead.
And a battle for the top spot. Look at this. Timothy Peters gets stuck behind Stacy Compton. And here comes Ron Hornaday back in front of this field.
How about Ron Hornaday? He was riding about a second behind before we went to commercial break. We come back and he's battling for the lead.
You know what you call that? Lurking. He was just sort of lurking back there, waiting for the 17 truck to get tied up in traffic a little bit.
And you know, this track it's groove sensitive. You need to be right down on the bottom to make your best lap times. When Peters caught Compton, it messed his groove up a little bit, and here comes Hornaday. So it'll be interesting to see how much heat Timothy puts back on Ron, and then what Ron thinks with his truck out front. It's definitely going to change the handling characteristics of it a little bit, and this is valuable information for him to be telling Rick Wren, okay, I was this when I was behind, now I'm this.
Right, and only about a lap away from this competition caution.
Yeah, I was going to say what the 17 truck needs to do right now is just chill, because we know we're going to have a caution. They're going to come in, we're going to make some changes here, and you can go back and do your thing.
And that is what has just happened. The competition caution has waved. Kim Lopez, our flag person in the flag stand, throwing the yellow flag, and so we knew this one was happening. Again, the tire is the same that they had here a year ago, but as you mentioned earlier, Phil, the ARCA REMAX Series is not here with us. There was not a lot of rubber put down on the racetrack. They wanted to make sure that the tire wear was consistent, and so this is why the competition caution has come out.
And those tires just passed the test.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 35 laps here. That rubber now down on the road with these 20, 30 trucks out there running, we're good now.
Plus a couple laps of qualifying prior to that. So really closer to 40 laps by the time you get to the get up to speed lap for qualifying.
Now's when the teams go to work on the tires. And then they might have a tire problem.
Yeah, they may create one.
That's right. I always like to say, we don't have bad tires. We just do bad things to them.
The field being caught up behind the pace truck. Randy Kaiser piloting that vehicle just in front of Ron Hornaday now. We see the red lights flashing at the entrance to pit road, and that means that pit road was not open that time by. I'm sure they'll be opening that up next time by. Big block Thursday on Speed with 3 big races, chases, and crashes. First at 8, it's Pinks All Out. Then at 9 on Jacked, an unexpected surprise forces the entire unit to scramble in hot pursuit. And at 10 on Wreck, a vicious windstorm wreaks havoc in Chicago. Big block Thursday on Speed. It's Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I think it's big block Saturday night right now on Speed as we're about to see the guys make the hard left turn onto pit road.
And this will be interesting. I assume everybody will get 4 and they'll come back in and get some gas, but if they're confident in their left side tires, guys that need some track position might make a little bit of a gamble here.
Yeah, Rick Crawford is one of the guys that started at the back because of unapproved adjustments. He made his way all the way up to the 14th position, so he must have a fairly decent truck.
Yeah, Michael, I don't believe I'd take that chance right now. I think I'd go ahead and get me 4 fresh.
Maybe save that for later.
And analyze the tires that they're taking off just to be safe.
I'm itchy. I want to go.
I know you do.
The field will be making their way onto pit road, again led by Ron Hornaday, looking to make history once again in the Camping World Truck Series, looking for his 5th consecutive win in this series. The field coming on to pit road. Let's go down to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, down on my end of pit road, I've heard 4 tires from just about every down here, and they're going to do that for Brian Scott when he gets here. They're going to go up a couple rounds on the track bar. That'll help loosen him up a little bit. Brian's saying he's just a little bit tight, especially down in 3 and 4. So as he comes down, there's nobody in the pit stall behind him. An easy entrance in here. Going to go 4 tires on this Toyota Tundra. And now let's go to the front of the field with Adam Alexander.
And Ron Hornaday has no problems getting into his stall. You see him middle of your screen. Loose in the word for Hornaday, 4 tires. Rick Wren, the crew chief, said we're going to get 4 here because this thing looks like it will be a long green flag run night. Top of your screen, Timothy Peters said I got really tight when I got in lap traffic. He will get 4 tires, and he will also get air pressure in a track bar. Hornaday, the quickest off of pit road.
And a tight race getting off of pit road. In that 12, Mario Goslin.
I think we saw some guys take me up on what I was offered.
Yeah, I think Travis Quapple may have been one of those with the 51 truck.
And I'm not so sure about Mike Skinner. He could have. I don't think he got 4. He might have gotten 2. And then of course Goslin. There's definitely some guys that took that chance. And I like that, especially if I don't have any track position right now. I need to get some track position, get up in the middle of them, and see what I got.
Yeah, I understand. But if I'm a crew chief and they tell me I might have a tire issue, I don't want to take any chances early in the race.
Here they're coming back.
Ray Dunlap.
And guys, you are right. A number of 2-tire stops down here on this, including Skinner, and I think James Busher also did too. But for Jeff Hensley, he said he really wanted to analyze the overall chassis. Now, right now, they'll come down and get fuel in this time, and this is where you'll see that chassis adjustment, making that track bar change for this number 16 truck. Fuel going in, they're only going to need the first part of that first can, maybe just have to hit it a little bit with the second can. Adam?
Similar situation for Ron Hornaday. They did the air pressure when they put the tires on. No chassis adjustment for the race leader when these pit stops began. And it will be a track bar adjustment for Timothy Peters. Hornaday, the first one off, followed by Bodine and Skinner. And then it looks like Timothy Peters pulls away in 4th or 5th.
So Todd Bodine and Mike Skinner moving up spots on pit road. We'll see when they come back to the green flag how they hold up front. Welcome back. Toyota Tundra 200 about to get back underway after our first round of pit stops. The competition caution was what brought out the yellow flag at lap 35.
You know what that is, Rick? That's Stacy Compton, who is getting a lap back, courtesy of Aaron's through the Lucky Dog program. And if you're down on your credit, Aaron's can help you there too.
They give and give and give.
You're gonna see it's gonna be a theme. You just watch. It'll happen over and over again tonight.
What, that Lucky Dog thing will? Really, do it every time.
Every time a caution comes out. Check this out. Ron Hornaday's just warming his tires, and I think that Mario Goslin wants ahead of James Busher. Don't know what he thought he was. I don't know why he thought he should go there. But that was a close call for Ron Hornaday.
Well, the reason is he wanted in front of him. He thinks he should have been in front of him, and obviously he is. So, but I saw little parts flying.
Yeah, remember now, no double foul restart like it is in the Sprint Cup and the Nationwide Series. Lap trucks on the inside, lead lap trucks on the outside.
And these front ends are big on these trucks. That right front fender could have got into Ron Hornaday's left rear tire. That's what you got to be careful with.
Yeah, but those wicker bills on there. I mean, here we go back green, so we'll see if any damage was done.
Definitely a concern.
Back in the air, Ron Hornaday leading the field. Mario Goslin, a lap down car or truck on the inside. And we saw the 30 of Todd Bodine coming off of pit road second. We'll see if he's got anything for Hornaday here at Nashville.
Look at that pack of trucks. They fill up that back straightaway, don't they?
They really do. There's Timothy Peters on the inside of Mike Skinner. He gets by Skinner. Again, we think Skinner may be one of the trucks that only got 2 tires.
I just don't like that. I don't like that strategy, but we'll see how it works out.
Early on in this race, some drivers choosing to go with just 2 tires, 2 right side tires.
Always had a theory about something like that. Short-term gain, long-term loss.
Whoa, a little Travis Quapple. Travis Quapple in the 51. He slides up, almost gets into Mario Goslin.
Thought they said he was tight. Not anymore.
They adjusted on that.
They fixed it.
3 wide into turn 3. Are we going to go there?
Yikes. Don't like the looks of this.
Mike Skinner just in front of what's looking to be a little bit scary right behind him. Ray, what's going on with the 5 team?
Well, it was an experiment down here to try to figure out if that's a good move for later on in the race to go with 2. They definitely did right side tires, and the yellow flag comes out here at Nashville. Looks like the 4 truck may be in the wall. That's J.R. Fitzpatrick. But guys, real quickly, just to give you what I'm hearing down here from the crew chiefs is they're thinking 40 laps is the window You don't want to go any further than that on green flag right now from what they've learned about these tires down here. So that may change a little bit about how you lay your pit stops out for the rest of this race.
I knocked the window net out of that truck.
There's some of the tires right there.
J.R. Fitzpatrick making the hard left turn. Brendan Knupp also in that 47 has gone behind the wall.
These crew chiefs will take these tires and put them back behind the wall just like they came off the truck, and they'll analyze these trucks. They'll scrape the excess debris off them, get a good gauge on them to see how much they've worn.
Yeah, those numbers you see on that tire there on the left of the screen, that's the wear numbers. Those little holes in the tire, they measure that, and it tells them how much wear they have got left.
So Goodyear and the team officials will be taking a look at that to see how the tires are wearing. Mario Goslin gets the Aaron's lucky dog. He'll be back on the lead lap. When we come back, the green flag will go back in the air.
They did it again.
Every time. It's amazing.
Hey, truck fans, this Wednesday night on Speed, you've got to check out Pastime. Watch Ron Hornaday and Mike Skinner go head-to-head on America's fastest game show. Catch all new back-to-back episodes of Pastime Wednesday night beginning at 9 Eastern, only on Speed.
They'll be operating on slow time.
No, wait a minute. Are you saying that because of the advanced age?
Yes. Hey, you know, speaking of that, I saw yesterday on the news where a guy 90-some years old, I think he was 92 years old, got a hole-in-one. Plays golf every day.
Was that his first?
It's just a sign of the times. I mean, you know.
How about Herschel McGriff?
Herschel,
ran the
81
West
years
Series
old.
race out in Portland a couple weeks ago.
What's up with all these old guys doing so well?
Y'all
Y'all wouldn't know, would you?
I'm going to be quiet. I'm kind of old and I ain't doing that good, to be honest with you.
Great crowd on hand here at Nashville Superspeedway. They have waited out the little bit of rain that fell before the start of this one. And now they're in for a great show here on the concrete oval, Nashville Superspeedway. We'll be back for the green flag after this. Welcome back. Toyota Tundra 200 about to get back underway as the field makes their way through 3 and 4. Coming out into the tri-oval. Again, out front, Ron Hornaday looking to once again make history and win 5 races in a row. Green flag back in the air.
Look how far out in front he is. They just took the green.
He's not very good on restarts.
You know, but
that was thick with sarcasm.
I know we say that. What makes him so good? I mean, what could it be?
You know, I like his start. His start, he jumps out good. He runs the first 2 or 3 laps after a restart faster than anybody can. I mean, that's when he really shines. He takes that bit of a break. He catches on those gears he goes through, and then he just runs his rear end off for 2 or 3 laps to get away from everybody.
The only thing I can ever think of is he starts in first gear when everybody else starts in second.
But everybody else can build the same kind of transmission, as we watched Timothy Peters go back and take over the second spot from Tom O'Dine.
Back in the day, you remember a company called Stick Only, California company? They built trick transmissions. Ron Hornaday was one of their best customers.
Well, he's figured out the restarts, that's for sure.
NASCAR has all that pretty well hemmed in.
Yeah, well, I don't mean he has an illegal transmission, but he might know something about
problems on the racetrack. The 44's around into Mario Goslin, and so that's the 44 of Tommy Joe Martins got turned around and into the 12 of Mario Goslin, bringing out our 3rd caution of the day. Didn't mean to startle you there, DW.
I'll tell you, that took my breath away.
Blake Feast got a piece of that in the 15 truck.
Those guys got all tied up, and Mario Goslin's sliding around in the infield grass down here.
That 12 truck is look at that thing. It's destroyed.
Nowhere to go. He was up against the wall. The 44 slid up the racetrack, pinched him into the wall. 44 was running 23rd, and Mario Goslin was running 19th at the time.
Yeah, Blake Feast was up on the top 15. He actually came by the start-finish line in the 15th position. He got a piece of that as well.
So the safety crews immediately out there to Mario Goslin. Very difficult. Mario, one of the drivers that's been kind of biding his time to get out here to race, and now when he's out here racing, he has that incident.
Yeah, there's the Phoenix Construction Toyota right there. You see the damage on the right side is going to be a little bit more than what we saw on the left side there.
Bumper bar sticking out tells you that the back's got a little contact somewhere.
He's checking it out, shaking around a little bit, see what he can figure
Phoenix
out.
Construction Toyota right there. You see where he's flat-sided that truck a little bit. You see the white cement around the tires.
Yeah, he got a little tire rub.
Let's take a look back.
3 wide.
Yeah, there's the 44 and the 15.
Oh,
the
no.
44 just actually tried to stay in the middle of the racetrack, and they made contact with the 15, and then Mario came along with absolutely nowhere to go.
That could have been a deal where the 44, like Darrell said earlier, he got down to the corner. He didn't have good aero because he was beside a truck, and he just couldn't turn left. He wanted to turn left, but he couldn't, and he wound up getting into the side of the 15.
And poor old Mario, he's coming down the back. He's passing trucks left and right, thinking, man, am I in the right line?
Just got an Aaron's lucky dog.
You're back on the lead lap, back in good contention for a good finish.
Tommy Joe just got loose getting in the corner, or just misjudged that corner. Maybe got in too deep. He just needed to be down a lot lower than he was when he got there, Phil.
Yeah. Baker Curb on the back there. That's Gary Baker and Mike Curb. They got their cars in the Nationwide Series. Two local businessmen.
They're getting their money's worth, the fans here at Nashville Superspeedway. We'll be back for more green flag racing after these messages. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is presented to you by Just for Men. Stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. And by Royal Purple. Visit RoyalPurple.com to find a dealer near you.
It's Camping World's Destination Recreation.
On today's Destination Recreation, it's Tailgating 101. Now, before you get your day started, of course, it's time to put the flag up. And this is a telescoping, extending flagpole. Now, you put Old Glory up for sure, and if you want to, put your favorite race car driver on there too. Now, all of the items here are essentials if you're going to go to the racetrack. I mean, of course, you want your checkered flag mat and a big, wide, easy recliner. How about a 4-foot aluminum folding table? That's extra handy. And of course, I have my thermos grill to go. Now, one of my favorite items, though, has got to be these stacking coolers. Check it out. You put one on the bottom, there goes your food. Slap that on top, open up the lid, and put in your beverages. You are all set to tailgate. Now, when you come to a Camping World store, you're going to want to get out a list and decide which is your favorite. I'm going to take one of all of these.
I just really want to go camping with that dude. I mean, you can tell he'll have everything that you need to go camping. And
one of everything.
He'll walk right out of Camping World with all that stuff on the way to your camping trip.
I'd be afraid he'd jack my car up and try to change my oil while we were out camping or something.
Now, while the exciting, fireworks have been taking place on the racetrack, we had our competition caution. Adam Alexander, what have we found out about the tire issue?
The one thing that we should point out, Rick, is when teams came this weekend, they were going to get 4 sets of tires to work with through practice and the race. NASCAR added a set of right sides for every team yesterday during practice to work with because there was so much wear on that right side because of how green this racetrack was. After that competition caution, a few teams still having some issues, so NASCAR made the decision to go ahead and give all the teams another set of right sides, bringing the total for the weekend 6 on the right side, 4 on the left side. How the teams manage it is up to them. Ray?
You know, Adam, what you got to do sometime with these brand new pit road rules is get yourself out of sync a little bit. And that's exactly what's going on with the 180 Toyota right now for Taylor Malsom. They just came in on lap 54 and made a change. They closed off the right front shock about 6 clicks, and they're continuing right now with this pit stop round to put fuel in that truck right now. So he'll have a full load of fuel rolling off here at lap 56. And one other truck that's also out of sequence is Stacy Compton in the Safe Auto Toyota. They came in and did the exact same thing, a right front shock adjustment, and also got fuel. They'll be on a little bit different strategy because they were in here at lap 48 and 49. But what this does, this allows you an opportunity to not do what all the front runners do the next time they get ready to pit. And if you're lucky, that might just happen under green flag conditions.
See another truck leaving the pit there, Stacy Compton. James Busher has received a free pass from Aaron's back on the lead lap for James. He, you know, we talked up at ORP, I think, Phil, about that truck just not running up to speed, but they seem to hang around and figure out how to get a good finish. I think he got a couple of lucky dogs that rolled him into a top 10 up there at ORP, and you can see here he's back on the lead lap again, putting himself in a position to make more out of the day than it looked like he's going to get when he started. I like what that team and what that cat does. They just hang in there and they make something out of nothing a lot of times.
And keep after it.
That's right.
That'll put 19 on the lead lap. Here comes the field once again following Hornaday around Nashville Superspeedway. Green flag back in the air. Hornaday, Timothy Peters, Todd Bodine, Terry Cook, Mike Skinner, your top 5, working their way through 1 and 2.
Bad restart that time for Hornaday. I mean, the 17 truck within 10 car lengths of him.
Yeah, he's gaining on him him, too.
Yeah, actually a pretty good restart for Timothy Peters.
Timothy Peters trying to close that gap and contest with Ron Hornaday for the lead here once again. Timothy Peters led over the first 30 laps, and, well, a driver that has led the first 30 laps has never won this race.
You know, we heard Mike Skinner talking before the race. The guys in the back have a little bit of advantage when there's tire issues during the course of a race. Timothy Peters up the hill a little bit.
Yeah, he hit the curb, or the apron.
You know what I like? Just think about what Setzer has been able to do. And we see the guys that were just on pit road. Taylor Mosso, Matt Kraft, and Compton, they're trying to roll the dice. They're trying to take a chance, get a bunch of gas, maybe see if this thing gets a green flag running here that'll put them in contention later in the race. We've seen it happen over and over this year.
A couple Fords battling for position there, the 14 and the 6, Crawford and Colin Brown. They're 3 wide. Going into turn 1.
Hold on, boys. Hold on. Hold on, boys.
This gets a little dicey. David Starr up on the top of the racetrack.
Matt Crafton just off pit road, all up the middle of that mess.
Adam, what's going on with the 17, buddy?
Daryl, you and I talked after their first pit stop tonight that they bobbled a bit. He stalled it when he was leaving the pit lane, so he lost a couple of positions. His biggest complaint on that first run of the evening, tight when he got into lap traffic, and he was closing on Hornaday, but watch this bobble. Just got down on the apron a little bit, gathers it in. Part of the confidence that this kid has gained in recent weeks, and they made a track bar adjustment. The truck much better in traffic now than it was early. We'll see if the young guy, the underdog, if you will, can go get the veteran who's won 4 in a row.
Yeah, I think that bobble shows you how good that truck is, though.
Because he's right back
after it, and he didn't wreck. I mean, yeah, that was a pretty serious bobble, and he hung on to it, and he's right back after it.
Yeah, not only did he lose ground on Ron Hornaday, but Todd Bodine got right on his back bumper. He didn't seem to be flustered at all, and now is reeled back into Ron Hornaday.
Well, we heard him say they worked with the track bar to try to help him out a little bit. Now, that makes me a little concerned, Darryl. He's going to have to get down on the inside of Ron to pass him. He's going to have to be careful. The thing will get loose with him down there.
Yeah, when you get underneath somebody, you just saw Skinner. When you get people on the outside of you, it just wants to suck the back end of the car, the truck around. And I don't care how good it's handling. It's just an aero thing that happens.
Seems like the 5 of Mike Skinner is struggling. Is that the case, Ray?
Oh, absolutely. He said this thing is plowing like a dump truck right now, and he's been relaying all that information to crew chief Eric Phillips. But here's the thing, guys. He's on a strategy plan here. Remember, I told you he took 2 earlier, and Eric Phillips has got this thing laid out on about a 40-lap run. So that would get us at a pit stop somewhere between 75 and 80, and then you could come in again between 115 and 120, and that's going to allow Eric Phillips to have 4 tires at the end of this race, where a lot of other guys are only going to have rights to put on. And he believes that it's worth this little gamble and losing some track position right now to have 4 tires late in the race. Adam?
It is a great scene to see TJ Bell running in the top 10, because 2009 has been anything but good for this race team. Bad luck followed by more bad luck. A couple of weeks ago at Kentucky, they marked it on their calendar as the race where they would get it turned around. They qualified 10th and felt like they had the truck that would get them the run they needed. Engine problems throughout the night saw him finish outside the top 20. They brought that same truck back here this weekend. He was solid in practice yesterday, and he's been in the top 10 so far tonight.
TJ Bell was able to go by Rick Crawford in that 14. Take a look to the inside.
You know, I talked to TJ the other day, and he said, Mike, what do I do, man? I mean, I just can't seem to catch a break. I said, you're doing exactly what you need to do. So go to the shop, hug your guys, tell them thank you. Let them know you're still all in. And that kid is all in, and he's fast. And when you're fast, you can make up for a lot of bad luck along the way by performing.
Here's my favorite thing. I like a guy that gives 100% of the time. Yeah. That's what I like.
Well, he's driven that truck up into the 8th spot, just ahead of him. These cats are racing for the 6th and 7th spot.
Colin Brown trying to get by Travis Quapple. Quapple driving the Miccosukee 51 this weekend, and we saw Kyle Busch running in Iowa earlier today.
Yeah, Travis's truck is a little bit better than it was the first run. Doug George obviously made some changes to that truck. He lost his spot there to Colin Brown. It looks like he may lose another one to TJ Bell.
TJ Bell still trying to take that spot away from Kyle Busch. Looks like from the 51 of Travis Quapple. Looks like Quapple had a run as he came out of 2, but now TJ Bell running so much stronger on the bottom of the racetrack.
Man, Rick, it's just so hard to keep your momentum up on the high side. You get down on the bottom, you can run side by side with a guy down to the center of the corner, but on the outside, you just can't seem to go. And the guy on the bottom just hooks and heads off.
Colin Brown right now riding in the 6th position. Good battle right there. There's Mike Skinner, Rick Crawford, Jason White.
Now you remember Skinner got 2 tires. He's falling back to the end of the top 10, just outside the top 10 and 13th. But on the other hand, Todd Bodine got 2 tires, and he's up in the 3rd spot. So Skinner now knows he's got more problems than just tires because Todd was able to make it work.
Yeah, Todd obviously has a good balance on that truck because the 2 tires worked for him.
Well, when I heard Skinner's crew chief say, okay, I got a plan. All right, now I can buy into a plan. If you're just rolling the dice and gambling, I'm not too happy about that, but we got a plan here. We're going to end up with better tires than everybody else. At the end of the race, I might buy into that.
Ron Hornaday now with almost a 2nd lead over Timothy Peters, so he has started to check out on this field once again. Can it be a repeat performance to the previous 4 races that we've seen out of Ron Hornaday? Things are going well for the 33 truck. We'll see if he can grab that guitar for the first time ever here at Nashville. Welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway. Racing continuing around this 1.25 mile racetrack. Toyota Tundra 200 in Nashville Superspeedway, Lebanon, Tennessee. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, Darrell Waltrip up here in the booth. Adam Alexander, Ray Dunlap down on pit road covering all the stories. And right now the biggest story is, can Hornaday do it again? He's won 4 in a row in this series. Can he make it 5 tonight? Well, he's looking pretty impressive as we've passed the halfway point, and it is Ron Hornaday in front.
We talked earlier, Bobby Allison, Richard Petty were the last guys in the major divisions of NASCAR to win 5 races in a row in 1971. And who do you think broke their streaks? When Bobby Allison won his 5 in a row, Richard Petty won that race that he was going for the 6th. And when Richard won his 5, Bobby Allison won the 6th race when he was going for his streak.
And you know it at ORP, Mike Skinner wanted to break all that streak up so bad he couldn't even breathe, I bet.
Remember his interview after the race? He said, you know, I could have hit him, I could have knocked him up, but I wanted to look in there. He said, but he'd hit me.
Ryan Scott with a good run.
Do you know what? I'm watching that 33 truck, and it's so it's a team. He started this race and he ran 2nd for a while. They get a caution. They make a minor adjustment on the truck. Good crew chief, smart. Makes a minor adjustment on the truck, and now look at him. He's running lap times that are a couple of tenths quicker than everybody else in the field. That's just how, that's that experience that a veteran has of knowing what he needs into the race, not just the start of the race.
He's pulled away from Timothy Peters. He's 1.2 seconds back. 3 seconds back from our leader is Todd Bodine. Adam?
Todd Bodine in the 3rd position, Rick, and he has had a decent night. We talked earlier about the fact that when he came in at laps 37 and 38 for his first pit stops of the evening, he took right side tires only. They are saving a good set for late in this race, should the opportunity present itself to put them on. And Todd has been continuing to talk about a loose race truck, but he feels like it will come to him as the run continues. But look behind him, Terry Cook growing bigger and bigger in the rearview mirror. He has been solid this evening.
Now, the reason it'll come to him, number of things. First of all, you're going to get some buildup in the air pressure in the right front. You burn fuel off. As the fuel goes away, you pick up nose weight, and that's going to tighten the truck up. That's the battle you have with any race car or truck, is trying to get that where you can hang on to it those first few laps and get a little fuel burned out of it so that you're good over the long haul and get it neutraled up. Yeah.
Get a little bit of air pressure in that right front. Obviously both right side tires, but especially that right front tire.
You have to anticipate so many things over a long run.
There's a cat that's having a good night, Phil. Johnny Sauter has consistently been one of the 4 or 5 fastest trucks, currently riding along in the 5th spot, right there on the back of Todd Bodine and Terry Cook. So that's a truck that could, with a small adjustment, like DW said, could get up there and give Ron Hornaday a run for this win.
Ray Dunlap, what else have you got about the Fun Sand Chevrolet?
Well, they've got a little bit of a problem down in their pits because Johnny says every 5 or 6 laps he goes into the corner and the brake pedal is really, really soft, and then it'll come back to him. He said, but it kind of scares you a little bit, makes you lose your confidence about how hard to drive it in. He said every once in a while he's not sure there's brakes at all on that Fun Sand Chevy.
Well, every race driver that I know that have been very good always brake with their left foot. And one of the things that you get accustomed to doing almost is as you go down the straightaway, if you've got a little bit of a brake issue, you'll hit that brake pedal a time or two before you get to the corner.
Just to make sure you're going to
not after you get to the corner. So he can deal with that as long as they come back.
Todd Bodine in front of Terry Cook. Then Johnny Sauter back there in the 5th spot. Colin Brown, T.J. Bell, Dennis Setzer, Matt Crafton, and Brian Scott rounding out your top 10.
As a matter of fact, I failed my driver's test the first time I took it as a kid because I was braking with my left foot.
And the instructor said, "What? You can't do that."
I said, "Everybody does it."
Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, just to let you know, we got just a couple little sprinkles coming down here on pit road right now. We'll keep you updated on that. It's certainly nothing that's bothersome yet, but just a few drops hitting you in the face here and there. We'll keep our eye on the sky for you here at Nashville.
We've got a debris caution. Tim Lopez putting the yellow flag out once again. That is the 4th time we have seen the caution flag.
These guys need some tires too. Everybody, I think, will get 4 this time.
But look at the raindrops.
Now what are we going to do, Phil?
Well, I don't know. Do we stay out now? Do we think the rain's going to come a little harder? And maybe, obviously, we're past halfway here. So, what are we thinking?
You see all that gray hair in that man's head?
He got that tonight.
Rick's got it going.
Got a lot of it tonight.
What should we do?
Now he's going to be 4 tires right there. You can see all-time winner as a crew chief in the Truck Series, tied with Dennis Conner with 26 wins.
Well, I'm looking over my shoulder. There's a radar just to the right of me, and the radar looks pretty good. And I imagine that's what Rick Rins has done as well. He knows if it does rain, it's going to be a brief shower, and we'll keep on racing. And I think that's what the radar's basically telling everyone.
So Hornaday in front of Timothy Peters. Those two have been the only 2 trucks in front of the field today. Timothy Peters led 33 laps to start off with, and then it has been all Ron Hornaday. 51 laps led for Hornaday. Looks as though they're going to duck down onto pit road, and we'll go back to Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, you know, it's one of those, what do you do if the front runners stay out? And Jason Overstreet, the crew chief for Johnny Sauter, said, we're going to make our bed here. We're going to pit no matter what they do up front. We saw Hornaday, Timothy Peters, and all them coming anyway, so no big deal. Fun Sand Chevy's in here. They're going to go and put tires on this thing. This should be a 4-tire stop for Johnny Sauter here. And again, he has said the truck is rolling through the center very, very well tonight here at Nashville. Adam?
Top of your screen, Ron Hornaday, the leader, is in. Slight air pressure adjustment. He said the handle started to go away late in the run. Middle of your screen, Timothy Peters is in. He continues to talk about a tight race truck. He will get 4 tires. Both are away, and it looks like Peters going to be the quickest off of pit road.
Ron Hornaday is going to come off pit road in 4th. Remember that these guys will come back in to get fuel here. But it's going to be interesting if Ron Hornaday does not restart up front, does not have the clean air, and Timothy Peters does, if he can beat him off pit road the next time.
I think the 17 only got 2 tires.
And I think some other guys got 2 tires as well because they were all looking at this weather. You know, they're thinking if we're going to come to pit road, let's get some track. Because look at Jason White. He hasn't pitted at all. So he's hoping the green never comes back out.
I saw a guy win the Coke 600 this year. He was running 13th.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing.
And everybody came on pit road but him.
Stacey Compton is coming down pit road now. He stayed out that last time, but now he is coming down pit road. I don't really understand that strategy.
And we're seeing most of the field, with the exception really of that 23 of Jason White. He stayed on the racetrack right behind the pace truck. Let's head back down to pit road. Who wants it first?
I'll take it, Rick, because we're back with Johnny Sauter here. And again, those guys got 4 tires on this pit stop. Going to put fuel in this Chevrolet right now. A couple of trucks down on my end going with 2 tires, though. This past round of stops, they're going to say, pack that thing full of fuel. Jason Overstreet says you're clear. He'll head back to the racetrack in front of most of the group at my end. Adam?
Timothy Peters did get 2 tires on that last cycle. He is one of the first ones away down here. Ron Hornaday comes in and tops off the fuel tank, neither needing a chassis adjustment, both working on their trucks with air pressure. It was Stacy Compton first off the pit lane.
Last time we were on a concrete racetrack, it was Dover. And who went to victory lane? Brian Scott. He comes out second off pit road. Welcome back. Toyota Tundra 200 just underway. And still it is the 23 of Jason White holding off the 2 trucks charging behind him. That's Brian Scott in the 16 and the 17 of Timothy Peters.
You might not want to forget that 33 too. He's also charging.
This is the worst aero situation you could have. And Ron
3 wide going into 3.
I wouldn't have done that.
Oh, and Ron Hornaday so close to Timothy Peters as they go through 3 and 4.
Wow. That was close. What a good job by both Hornaday and Peters. And Peters isn't too happy about that.
No,
move.
I don't blame him. Ron really took a big chance right there driving down there 3 wide with a truck as good as his.
And it's because there's probably some raindrops on that windshield, and he knows he better go if he wants to win his 5th in a row.
You nailed it, brother.
How about Jason White, though, hanging in there, and the lead did not stop at all on this caution flag.
Peters is back under Hornaday.
He's going to say, you know, you did that to me. Let me show you what it feels like.
Timothy Peters trying to take 3rd away. Can't do it. Hornaday holds on to it.
Pretty good smoke on the hood of that 33 coming up off turn 4 there.
What about my man Jay White? He's out there on old tires leading this baby.
He is holding off the 16 of Brian Scott. Brian tried to take him on the outside through 3 and 4. Nothing doing.
See, the right side tire issue wasn't a thing where they slowed down. They were just wearing. Yeah. The guy said they really didn't lose much speed. They were just wearing out in practice to down the green racetrack.
I think Hornaday had to clear the 17. Once he cleared the 17, he can go now.
Brian Scott to the outside again. 3 wide as they come to the stripe. That's for the lead. Hornaday takes it away from Brian Scott and Jason White.
There's a bit of urgency amongst the front runners there.
Daryl, we saw this same thing out of Hornaday at Kentucky and ORP last week. He just gets on the gas and goes, baby. It's like he ain't never won one of these things before, let alone trying to win his 5th in a row.
Yeah, it might be that, but I think it's also he's got an awesome piece of equipment there to work with, too. That truck is, it handles anywhere he wants it to, including the straightaway.
And as you mentioned, the straightaway, that Pro Motor Engineering now also obviously going for 5 in a row as well in this 33 truck.
An impressive run by Ron Hornaday. He's able to get back in front of the field, now in front of the 16 of Brian Scott. Timothy Peters, who was battling for that lead, has dropped back a few truck lengths. He's already back about a 2nd from this field.
Brian Scott's not going away, though, after Hornaday's right on Hornaday's bumper. We can look right here. You see the battle for the lead. I mean, Scott closed right in on him on the last turn.
Well, I think if you remember, that 16 lays concrete. He's a concrete eater.
Take a look at this. Riding along. This is Brian Scott's view.
Remember, he's going to the outside of Jason White here in just a few moments. Here comes Ron Hornaday. He goes to the inside. That's going in turn number 3. Now, remember, Jason White is the leader. There he is, right up your screen. Brian Scott goes to the outside. Hornaday goes to the inside.
He just forced his way in there. I mean, there really wasn't any room, but he made room.
Adam Alexander.
Michael, DW, and Phil, I want you to analyze what I heard on Ron's radio after that last pit stop. Rick Wren, the crew chief, said, Horn, we're real close on fuel. I need you to save me some on this run. I don't think the driver heard the crew chief there. What do you guys think?
Well, here's the thing. He's got a full tank right now, and he's going to use a lot of it right now and then save a little bit at the end of the run. I think that's his plan.
But when he's out front here, he can control his own destiny a little bit. He can watch that mirror. He can save a little bit of fuel. Now, if they get too close, then he can give it a little bit more gas.
Right. Get you a little lead here, shake the competition, and then back out the throttle early.
Look at Jason White. He's hanging tough, Phil. You can see right there. Crafton gets up on the outside of him for the 7th spot. But, man, he's hanging in there.
Ray Dunlap, what are they saying now, that 23 team?
Well, guys, keep in mind, this is a truck they call Bullet, and all of the great finishes that Jason White has had this season has been in this very truck, and it's got a body on it that came from Kevin Harvick Incorporated, and they knew that this thing could run up there in the top 5, but their gamble on staying out was really a weather play. They thought that the rain was going to come here quickly, and they thought we could get a top 5 finish out of this. Now let's go back to Adam.
And the rain has picked up. Ray and Hornaday talking on the radio about how bad we need a caution. They said they're talking about it, referring to NASCAR, and Ron said talking about it. They're going to wait till somebody wrecks, and it has picked up.
They're still running awfully fast, though.
Yeah.
Ron Hornaday, that last lap, ran a 30.70. That's about as fast as we've seen here in at least the last 60 or 70 laps.
You know, you got to tip your hat to Kevin Harvick and his group. They're building trucks that are winning races in the Nationwide Series, and then now they're winning cups over there that in the Busch or in the Nationwide Series where those cars are winning as well and selling them to customers.
That is, if you're a baseball coach, that is the signal for it is raining extremely hard right now. That's what my driver's telling me.
Was that the third base coach?
That was the third base coach giving the signal. It's raining hard, and that's what I'm hearing from my driver.
Well, you know what I'm seeing? I see a green flag, and they're saying we don't really care right now.
They keep digging. As Hornaday stays in front of Brian Scott, they work by Norm Benning in the 57, a lap down truck.
Really haven't slowed down much. No. Hornaday was a couple tenths slower that lap, but Timothy Peters and Ty Bodine both ran in the 30-70 bracket, which is the lap that Ron Hornaday ran the last lap.
So again, the big story, will it rain hard enough to bring out a caution to slow them back down, or does the Hornaday Express check out on the rest of the field here at Nashville Superspeedway? Scene Daily and SpeedTV.com have teamed up to form the most powerful online news source in NASCAR. Visit SpeedTV.com now for in-depth analysis, breaking news, and more. Right now, the breaking news is moisture. Rain falling here at Nashville, and that has brought out the caution once again. We're not affected as much by rain up here in the booth, but obviously the teams and everyone on pit road saying it is coming down. But we're also hearing that not a lot has sat on the track. Adam Alexander, what is our leading crew chief saying?
The crew chief is very calm. The driver a little more animated. Rick Wren calling the shots for Ron Hornaday. The good news is you never have to worry about where your driver stands on any issue, right, Rick?
No, he pretty much says what he thinks. But you know, that's probably why Kevin and Corelli and Hornaday and I get along so well. We pretty much all say what we think.
We've just gotten the word 2 to go. Do you feel like we're ready here?
Well, you know, they keep saying the racetrack's clear. Ron says, but they're not driving on 4 slick tires. So if they throw the green, we're going to go. I mean, we were still running good lap times there, but, you know, it's got to be awful hard to drive a 150 or 60 mile an hour off in the corner, water running off your windshield.
How are you on fuel?
We're all right. It's we're okay. Won't be a lot left in the tank, but we're okay.
Hornaday going for 5 in a row, and it has been an entertaining night.
We'll be back in 1 minute, so stick with us here on Speed. Can Hornaday make it 5 in a row and win his first guitar at Nashville?
It's amazing what these guys can do with these cars. They don't have sponsors, they don't have flash, they don't have tons of money. What they do have is determination and some of the toughest, most reliable auto parts in the industry. On this show, I ask them to do one thing: go all out. They need parts they can count on to do the same. Napa, get the good stuff.
Introducing the Gatorade Limited Edition Jordan Series. Collect all 6. That's G.
Welcome back. A little light precipitation in the area, but not enough to affect the racing surface. At least that's not what NASCAR is saying.
Boy, I don't know, Rick. I saw the windshield on that 33 truck had water running off of it.
Well, we see just a little bit of drops coming down, but they're coming to the green flag. Hornaday leads them once again. Green flag in the air.
Boy, that 16 is all over Ron Hornaday this time.
Well, he sure is.
Laps winding down. Brian Scott knows he's got just a few chances left to try to get by that 33.
Crafton's on the outside trying to get by the 17 of Timothy Peters, or TJ Bell, the 11.
You know, when it's raining a little bit, you hate to be the only guy on the outside. You want to ride in the guy's tire tracks in front of you, so Crafton quickly gets back down to the bottom.
Well, Mike, you know you lost a little bit of grip. And what you're not sure about is how much grip have I lost, and is the track really slick or not? You just got a doubt in your mind. Takes a lot of your confidence away.
There goes Crafton trying to get by the 30 of Tom O'Dine. That is a battle for the 4th position.
Look at the bottom is Crafton. It looks as though he's going to make the pass. Oh, try to, and now the momentum for Todd Bodine down the backstretch gets him back by the 88.
Well, racing side by side with a little bit of moisture on the track, that's a little bit edgy, boys.
Todd's hanging on the outside pretty good. As good as we've seen anybody all night long. He's able to stay side by side with Compton.
There's TJ Bell right there, right behind him. The 11, Terry Cook just got by the 13 of Johnny Sauter to take over the 7th spot.
Those two remain side by side. Matt Crafton on the inside, Todd Bodine on the outside. There he clears him.
Crafton had to give up. It's going to give TJ Bell a chance to get down to the inside of Crafton, so he's going to remain on the outside.
I don't know how slick it is or how wet it is, but they're running the fastest times they've run all night right now in the 30-60s.
Looks like TJ Bell's got his hands full as he moves up the racetrack.
Terry Cook making it 3 wide, trying to get by a couple trucks.
Terry Cook tries to get by him on the inside, and Matt Crafton going back into the gas, trying to stay in front.
Wow, look at the way Crafton drove down in that first turn. He said, I'm tired of this noise.
Crafton trying to hold on to that 5th spot.
Boy, he gets so much push when you come off a 2 over there. It's hard to keep it down under somebody.
Trucks are bunching up now on the racetrack. TJ Bell, Terry Cook, Colin Brown.
Collins joined that battle. We saw him fade a little bit right after the start of the race, but it looks like Mike B may have him tuned up a little bit.
Just 40 laps of racing remain. Hornaday looking to become the first driver ever in the Truck Series to win at all 3 concrete tracks.
I thought that 16 was going to be able to hang with Ronnie. He was with him up until the last couple of laps, but Hornaday's truck really seems like 3 or 4 laps and then really gets going.
It just doesn't slow down any. He just ran a 30-60 the last lap, which is as fast a lap as we've seen in the last 75 laps.
Yeah. And when you're in a 16 truck like Scott is, and you're already scaring yourself, overdriving your truck, and he's getting away from you, that's worrisome.
How is he doing that, you say?
Exactly. I'm scaring myself to death, and he's pulling away.
There's another truck that we talked about pretty much all night. Timothy Peters has been so strong. Now he's closing in on the 16 of Brian Scott for that 2nd position.
He looks like he might be the heat right now for Ron Hornaday. If he can just clear the 16 of Brian Scott, he might have something for Ron. Todd Bodine, too, continues to be very impressive, running very fast laps.
Ray, how's Brian Scott doing out there on the track?
Doing just fine, Rick, and keep in mind that his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, has 9 wins with multiple different drivers in this series. And right now, he's trying to coach Brian Scott a little bit into not losing your senses about where you're at. He said, we're much better than the rest of the field, except for that 33. So keep it in context and realize that sometimes we're going to race for a 2nd place. You're good enough for that, so we'll keep an eye on what everybody's doing behind you. Right now, the 33 is just that much better than us, but don't let it go to your head.
Yeah, I think he's going to have his hands full possibly with that 17 of Timothy Peters. Got a good battle right here. There's Dennis Setzer left of your screen in the A truck. He's running in the 11th position right there. Then the battle for 12th is Travis Quapple, Taylor Malsom, and the 15 of Blake Feast. Remember, Blake had some damage from that earlier incident.
Well, you said a handful of guys there that have some problems. Taylor's in a backup truck. Blake had some problems from an earlier incident, and we've watched Dennis Setzer come on off pit road 4 or 5 times working on that truck. Now that as usual, at crunch time coming down to the end, here comes Dennis toward the top 10. He does it every week.
I tell you, that 16 truck, though, I like that pep talk that Jeff Hensley just gave his driver, because he has turned it up a notch, and he's starting to close back in on Ron Horn today, and he's pulling away from the 17 truck.
Ray Dunlap.
I'll give you a quick ad, guys, on that 15 of Blake Feast. He said this truck doesn't start out very good at the beginning of the run. It's real loose, but he said, man, this thing comes to me towards the end of the run. He said, I think we're in really good position here to move forward a bit. If this race stays green and goes all the way to lap 150, I'm feeling pretty good about our chances of moving forward.
Moving forward is what Brian Scott is trying to do right now. Ron Hornaday is trying to set another record in the Camping World Truck Series. He's got virtually every record already in the series. Can he make it 5 wins in a row? We're closing in on the final laps here in Nashville. Attention all you Digger fans, you can now get Digger on your computer and get free Digger videos, wallpapers, games, and more. Visit digger.ask.com today. We're hearing more rumblings about moisture or some precipitation, but we are still under green. We have 30 laps of racing to go, and Hornaday has led 81 of the 120 laps up to this point.
Another dominating performance by Ron Hornaday. We've had a couple guys take shots at him. Obviously, Brian Scott right now running in the 2nd spot. Timothy Peters, truck, our pole sitter's been very, very good, but Ron Hornaday right now with a little bit over a 1-second lead over Brian Scott, but a great battle for second.
Battle for second heating up. Brian Scott just in front of Timothy Peters. We've seen Timothy Peters out front 33 laps. The first 33 laps of this race, it was all Timothy Peters. Now Brian Scott might have his hands full as Timothy on his back bumper.
I think Todd Bodine is going to be a player here before long too. He's right here behind Timothy, and he's closing up a little bit on these 2nd and 3rd place trucks.
This track is just so line sensitive, Darrell. You miss your line by just maybe just a half the truck width, and or maybe just get in a little bit deep. You can lose 2 or 3 tenths of lap time. So, and it's because the turns are so tight. You gotta try to keep that truck wound up. And we've seen the leader mess up a lap or 2 and lose a couple of tenths, but overall he's able to get it back right quick.
And remember, we have that tapered spacer now, so these trucks have a little less horsepower than they did a couple years ago. They make about 680, 690 horsepower. They used to be at about 750 to 760.
It just appears that if you get up off that yellow line at all, then there's no grip. And if you miss your line, like we're saying, you get up a little bit high, you just got to roll out of the throttle and get it back down. And of course, like you said, with the lack of horsepower, it really hurts your lap time.
The top 4, we have 3 Toyotas chasing a Chevrolet around here. Timothy Peters and Todd Bodine running 3rd and 4th, Adam.
And Darrell a moment ago talked about the fact that those 2 drivers appear to be on the move and gaining on the 16 of Brian Scott, and perhaps the reason why is both those teams, Timothy Peters and Todd Bodine, have focused on the long run tonight. Their truck's getting better and better as this green flag run continues. That is why they are starting to reel in Brian Scott, who is a runner-up, and just a matter of time before they make their move. Unfortunately, I think that's where the momentum may stop, because the 33 quiet on the radio is checking out.
Yes, he is, Adam, and he's looking in his rear view mirror, and I don't know if he's saving fuel or not, but if he is, he's running some pretty good lap times. I think Wren said they were okay on fuel after that caution, I think.
Yeah, they stopped back for fuel on lap number 86, and we had, another caution, so we ran a few more laps under caution. That'll probably be enough cushion to get them in their window to make it the rest of the way, even with the green-white checker possibility.
Well, you talk about those 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place trucks. They just ran identical times, 13-1, 13-4, and Todd ran a 23.
But then the last time by, Hornaday ran a 31-13, just like 2nd and 3rd. Evidently, he is saving a little bit of gas, because you know what he just laid down on him just then? A 30.81. That's 3/10 of a second better than anyone on the track.
5th, 6th, and 7th. Whoa, a close call there for Colin Brown as he has to move to the inside of TJ Bell now.
That is a battle for the 6th spot. Colin able to take over that 6th spot. Terry Cook now is going to move in on the 11 of TJ Bell. See Terry's Toyota on board there. Good run for Terry tonight. Had a top 5 truck early in the race here. Got behind a little bit on the last round of pit stops and has made his way back into the top 10. Going after right now TJ Bell for the 7th spot.
Yeah, that 6th truck, they've done a nice job on it. I think he wasn't all that good early, but here he is in 6th spot. It looks like he's got a truck that's moving up a little bit, so they've done a nice job adjusting on it tonight, getting him a little bit better. You know, something we haven't mentioned, running 2nd right now is Brian Scott. Since he broke his wrist, he has been impressive. He's running 2nd again, contesting for the win.
Well, that's what I said. I'd break his other wrist. I mean, he's doing so well with a cast on that one wrist. I mean, maybe 2 will be better.
Well, Phil, you've driven, Mike has too. You only really drive with one hand. I mean, basically your left hand does all the work. Your right one just kind of floats along. It's your sight hand. When it's at the top, you can see where you're going. When it's out of side, it's so you pull down with that left hand. Right one just kind of along for the ride most of the time. I used to see Earnhardt put his right hand up on the penny bar and ride for a lot of laps sometimes.
While he was leading.
Taking a look inside of that truck, Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, just before we got ready to go green, I was trying to tell you guys about all the good trucks in this field that have already won this year. And on that list, certainly the 16 of Brian Scott. We documented that this chassis, number 127, is the one that they used to get his first big NASCAR win at Dover. I asked his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, is this a specific concrete truck? And basically all the crew chiefs have down here told me you don't have a concrete track truck anymore with real high frame rails, because the way these things are set up now with coil bound, you could just about run these trucks at any track, any week. You can change the suspension for them. But Brian Scott has told me that this is his favorite truck right now. Obviously, getting that big win, you would think it would be high on his list, but he said this truck just rolls through the center better than anything else they have in their fleet.
But really, Ray, a concrete truck is a truck that you actually build things stronger. You add a couple of bars here and there to keep the flex out of the chassis because of the roughness of the concrete. Tire buildup is huge. The truck takes a lot more pounding on concrete than it does on asphalt, so you'll strengthen parts and pieces in the chassis to keep it from flexing.
Battle for the 5th spot. Matt Crafton in front of Colin Brown. Adam Alexander, what are we hearing from Colin Brown's crew?
Well, Ray talked about magical trucks, and this one's certainly that for Colin Brown. This is the vehicle he took to Victory Lane at Michigan a few months ago, and it's the same particular truck that Travis Kvapil won in here at Nashville 2 seasons ago. He feels very confident about it, but they've had to work much more on it tonight during the race than what they thought they would. They were very confident in this vehicle yesterday during the practice sessions. It's been a bit more of an adjusting night than what they thought it would be here this evening.
What an impressive run. Again, another lap by Ron Hornaday down in the 30-80s.
Yeah, he is gassed it up. He's in a hurry to get this thing over with now.
He wants to play that guitar.
Yeah, it looks like he's when he wants to, he can be about 2/10 better than anybody else in the field. He doesn't do it every lap, but he does it enough to know that he can do it if he has to.
He does that just enough to worry Wren. Is everything okay? And then he'll run a real fast lap.
And how would you like to be those guys chasing him? There's a few laps ago when all 3 of the top 3 trucks ran the same speed exactly. And I'm sure the crew chief said, you're fastest leader, you're fastest leader. Next time by Hornaday smoked them about 0.3 of a second. Guarantee the crew chief never mentioned that little detail.
Yeah, I always loved it when they say you're as fast as a leader, and I'd say, well, how come he's getting smaller then?
Good battle. Taylor Mawson able to get by the 51 of Travis Kvapil. Now Travis's teammate Blake Feast in the 15 Phoenix Construction Toyota is trying to get by him.
Travis, the only driver in this field that has won a guitar at this racetrack in the Camping World Truck Series.
Yeah, Colin Brown just got by made another pass here on the 88 truck. That 6 truck has really come alive here late in the evening.
There you see Colin Brown in the Conway freight.
It's up to the top 5 now, and watch him. He just makes a big power move here on the outside.
He followed him off of turn number 4, got right on his rear bumper as they got to the start finish line. He just drove to the outside and was able to clear him, Matt, before they got to the center of 1 and 2.
Yeah, Matt didn't even put up a fight. He said, you're better than I am, and he let him go.
15 laps, now 14 to go for Ron Hornaday as he just crossed the start-finish line. He has a 2.2-second lead over Brian Scott. Then Timothy Peters, Todd Bodine, Colin Brown, your top 5. Colin just running a sub-31-second lap.
I believe that 6 truck has got a shot at catching Bodine.
You know, one guy I've been keeping an eye on right there, that 14 truck of Rick Crawford. Remember, he went to the back of the pack for the start of the race for unapproved adjustments, and Rick has driven his truck up into the top 10. They've had a lot of bad luck this season. They haven't had a top 5 or top 10 actually since Texas back at the beginning of June. So good run for Rick Crawford to get that truck up in the top 10. But then there's that Dennis Setzer right there, that 8 truck.
I love that guy.
He's lurking behind the 14 of Rick Crawford.
A couple veterans running nose to tail there. Ray Dunlap.
And Crawford just coming on the radio moments ago saying the right front is absolutely done. We've rolled over on it too hard. He said, I'm going to have to nurse this thing home. Not sure it's even going to make it. I'm really worried about the right front tire.
Man, you just got to, you know, he's concerned this late in the going, and with the tire issues we've heard already. So getting on down the road on these tires, these guys have got to be a little bit careful or feel that truck, be real sensitive.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You just can't turn the steering wheel. I mean, it's like you're sitting on eggs. You just go in the corner and you say, oh, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on that right front tire. And by the same token, guys are catching you. And so you're a rock and a hard place. Do I go or do I blow?
And this is going to be the longest they will have to run these tires, these right side tires. 35 laps was the first run, and then they ran them about 50 before the caution came out, and these guys put that last set on. So we're going to have to run these tires about 60 to 65 laps. So that's a little bit, a little bit longer than we've run all night.
Yeah, it's the box you hate to get into. You're now in no man's land at the end of the night. Right when you need to be your best or when you need to know everything is good, you start worrying.
The signal just going to Ron Hornaday. 10 laps. You're 10 laps away from the checkered flag. It would be his 5th in a row, his first win at Nashville Superspeedway. And again, we talk about the wins for crew chief Rick Wren. That would put him alone at the top of the crew chief win list, surpassing Dennis Conner, who he's tied with now. Ron Hornaday has never won a guitar here at Nashville. One of the prize awards given to these NASCAR drivers. DW, you've won so many of the grandfather clocks from Martinsville, and then you have something very unique to this area with the music industry, a Gibson guitar that's been designed by Sam Bass.
Yeah, it's a wonderful trophy, and it's a cherished trophy. And you know, these guys, even whether it's the IRL guys that have raced here or the ARCA, whoever it is, they all want to get that guitar and put it in their trophy case.
Ron Hornaday, Rick Wren looking to add another trophy to their trophy case, which continues to expand this season. Ron Hornaday coming into this race had a 174-point lead over Mike Skinner in the point standings. That's the largest point margin ever with 12 races to go, and he's looking to expand on that tonight.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good cushion. He could take a couple of weeks off if he wanted to. Maybe he'll win 5 in a row and take a vacation.
Well, he could actually miss a race and still be your point leader, because right now he has a 221-point lead over Matt Crafton as they run on the racetrack.
Yeah, right now Mike Skinner, who came into this race second points, is back in the 14th position. Matt Crafton in 6th. So if they remain running about where they are, then Matt Crafton will certainly take over the second spot from Mike Skinner, but a long way behind that 33 truck.
Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, real quick, just to add another notch on Hornaday's list. If he wins tonight, and he will hold the point lead, which it appears he will tie Jack Sprague with 54 races where he has been the point leader in his career. And it looks obvious with the numbers that he has right now that they're going to keep this train rolling. So when we go to Bristol, that'll be one more category where Hornaday takes over as the all-time leader here in the Camping World Trucks.
Yeah, if he leaves with a 220 or 230 point lead, he won't even have to show up at Bristol, and he'll be our point leader after the race.
Yeah, very impressive run for this 33 team. Kevin Harvick Incorporated has put together the dream team in the Camping World Truck Series.
Well, you just got to appreciate the way Harvick and those guys go about racing these trucks. Like Darrell said earlier, they're selling trucks to Jason White. Remember a couple weeks ago, Ricky Carmichael got to go up to Kentucky and test an ARCA car because they wanted him to be ready when he went up there to race his truck. Ricky gets a career best finish at Kentucky. They check all the boxes, and I love the way they go about racing these trucks.
Take a look at that.
Yeah, in the Nationwide Series,
making the pass.
Harvick and them are selling trucks to, I think, or cars now. I think Rusty Wallace's group has bought into that deal. So Harvick right now has got the hot package for the trucks in the Nationwide cars.
Saw Travis Quapple get by the 5 of Mike Skinner. Todd Bodine still running in the top 5, Adam.
That's the good news. The bad news is he may not be there much longer. With 5 to go, he came on the radio and said, I think the right rear may be flat. He has since come back and said, it is going quickly. You see Colin Brown has gone around Todd Bodine for the 4th position, and drivers like Matt Crafton and TJ Bell closing quickly. Todd Bodine going to have to nurse this one home here tonight with only 3 to go.
Yeah, these 3 laps can't come quick enough for Todd Bodine.
Or Ron Hornaday. He's got to be sitting on pins and needles too. He's the fastest truck. You know, he's probably thinking, I've been using my tire.
Todd just took off up the hill. Yeah, it's always something, isn't it? If it isn't about to run out of fuel, it's about to blow out a tire, or the engine's about ready to quit. Why is it?
There's
Terry
problems
Cook
on the racetrack. Terry Cook.
Oh, that'll bring out the
he
caution.
has problems up into the wall. The caution comes out, and that was with 2 laps to go, meaning we will have a green-white checker finish in the Camping World Truck Series race here at Nashville.
Well, Terry was running up in the top 10, had a good strong run going.
Really did.
There was some great stories. Terry Cook up in there, TJ Bell in the top 10, Rick Crawford all the way from the back up into the top 10.
Look at all the debris inside. I guess that's from his tires.
Just so many guys that needed some good runs. Terry Cook was certainly high on that list, and now he's got a right rear tire that has blown out.
More than likely, that's what probably precipitated the contact with the outside wall.
And more than likely, that's what was next for Todd Bodine. So what does Todd do? Does he come to pit road and put tires on and run 2 laps?
Yeah, there's the right rear tire goes down. Terry just riding along there, right in the bottom of the racetrack, and the right rear goes down and into the outside wall he goes. He was completely by himself, but nothing you can do when you lose a rear tire.
Now, we're positive that the fuel's not an issue.
Well,
we're pretty sure.
Because we're really not sure about tires, and
it could be
we're really not sure about,
Well, we said our pit window was somewhere between 62 and 72 laps, and most of these guys had to go 64 from the last time they pitted, which is Ron Hornaday. Now, again, we've had enough caution laps that we should be fine. But if this race goes very far beyond the prescribed distance, you never know.
You never know. It ain't over
till it's over.
Till it's over. The advertised distance for this race was 150 laps or 200 miles. We will be going by that the next time by the start-finish line.
Yeah, we're going to overtime, baby.
We are headed to overtime. That means Hornaday has to work just a bit harder to hold on to see if he can win 5 in a row in the Camping World Truck Series.
Now, does Todd Bodine just trust his right rear tire won't blow out? Because we saw his truck fall off the pace tremendously. We know he's got a wounded tire. Is he going to come to pit road?
He's coming, I think.
Yeah. I think he's got to.
He's on his way to pit road. Probably saw what happened with Terry Cook.
And that tire is down. Look at that right rear tire. It's definitely flat. So that's a great call by Todd Bodine to bring that truck. You better off saving this truck than trying to limp around there and get a top 10 finish.
Exactly.
Adam Alexander.
And the crew, I think, had a mind to leave him on the racetrack, Phil, but Todd Bodine said there is absolutely no way this thing is going to make it to the finish, and on a restart, he would have been a sitting duck. So they will come in, change the tires. They're going to make a significant chassis adjustment, pump up the air pressure, and try to give him an opportunity to rally and pick up some spots here at the end. And we talk so much about drivers who have battled through bad luck. Bodine and this bunch have had their fair share of adversities throughout 2009, and the run of issues continues here tonight in Music City.
Yeah, I saw him after that race at Kentucky. He had a top 5 finish with just a few laps to go. The rear end gear went out on his truck, and he's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. This thing, something always seems to bite me.
It's right along with before mentioned Terry Cook.
Uh-oh.
I know you two know what that feels like. But folks at home, it's like somebody walks up to you and hits you in the gut with a baseball bat.
Because you know it's coming. You know it's coming.
Yeah, you're kind of anticipating it.
That's Todd Bodine's right rear tire.
It was gone, right? It wore all the way through the rubber, and air started coming out of it. Adam, what did he say about that tire?
I don't think I need to do any talking. You guys can see for yourself with pictures exactly what kind of shape this thing was in. And Todd, one of the guys that had battled with a right rear tire earlier in the evening when this race began. And we should point out, they were right at a fuel run. It's been 65 laps since they've been on pit road, so they went about as long as they could go. But certainly this right rear tire has seen its better days, Ray.
And Adam, give you a couple green-white checkered stats here. This will be the 79th time in our series that we've done it. Only twice here at Nashville. Remember back in 02, Bliss came from second to win the race. And in 06, Johnny Benson won this race on a last lap pass under green-white checkered conditions. But guys, I do want to let you know that the leader with 10 laps to go here at Nashville has not won 4 of the last 5 races.
And look who is behind Ron Hornaday right now. A young 21-year-old driver.
We saw him. His last restart was awesome. He pushed Ron down into the first turn.
Let me tell you where he's going to be tough is off of turn 2. I've been watching him. He really gets off of turn 2. He gets a nose up under Hornaday going down the back. Look out, folks.
Boise, Idaho's Brian Scott could be the spoiler tonight, or maybe Timothy Peters can get the nose up there and challenge Ron Hornaday. Green flag back in the air, 2 laps of racing.
Well, you don't think Hornaday doesn't know they're on him? Look at him take a little evasive action as he heads off into turn 1. This is where I thought Scott might have a shot. He's been real strong off of 2 over there.
Looks like he lost a front a little bit.
Yeah,
he pushed.
He pushed.
We only have 1 attempt at a green-white checker finish. As soon as Hornaday gets the white flag, or if a caution would come out now, they are in the positions they would finish. Hornaday coming out of turn 4. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for history in Hornaday.
This is big, folks. This has never happened before. You love seeing something. You love seeing athletes accomplish things that no one else has ever done, and that's what's fixing to happen with this 33 truck. Didn't go another mile.
And for Rick Wren, too, all-time winner in the Truck Series is a crew chief if they can hold it off another corner.
They continue to battle for 3rd. Colin Brown on the inside, Timothy Peters on the outside. But the real history is being made. Ron Hornaday will win 5 races in the row at the Camping World Truck Series.
You know, I'm glad I was here tonight to see that, guys. That's a big piece of history right there.
First time in NASCAR since 1971.
Joins the likes of Richard Petty, Bobby Allison. They were the last to do it in 1971. Ron Hornaday, Rick Wren will be heading to victory lane for the 5th consecutive race.
You got to tip your hat to Kevin Harvick, to Rick Wren, and to everybody that works on this truck. You got to have something to win those 5 races in, and they've given him a mighty fine piece.
Let's hear from the winning crew chief. He's with Adam Alexander.
No crew chief has won more in the Truck Series than Rick Wren. Your driver now has gone 5 in a row. Are there words to describe what this team is doing right now, Rick?
No, it's unbelievable. I told Hornaday there when he took the checker, I said, we both made history tonight. I don't know how to say this. All I can talk about is our preparation and how hard we worked and how hard he drives. And Kevin Delana let us build whatever we need to build. And awesome. I don't know. I don't know how to. It's not much better than this. I don't know what to say. How about that Longhorn Chevrolet tonight?
Now, where do you go from here?
I don't know. we'll just keep doing what we do. We go every week to race to win, and that's all we can do. And if everything falls right, you get that checker flag.
The next race for the Truck Series, Bristol. Guess who's won more short track races than anybody in the Truck Series?
The driver of the 33 truck. Rick Wren, as he mentioned to his driver, we set history tonight. Rick Wren, the all-time crew chief winner. He's had 5 different drivers that have put him in this position. Ron Hornaday, Johnny Benson, Andy Houston, Travis Quapple, and Rick Corelli, who used to spot for Ron Hornaday.
2 of those guys right now work for KHI. Andy Houston and Rick Corelli both work for KHI.
You know what?
And on the phone, I'm sure, owner Kevin Harvick and, well, maybe his wife. They'll be in victory lane when we come back to Nashville Superspeedway.
Or maybe both.
Ron Hornaday continuing to savor the moment. The winner of the Toyota Tundra 200, and more importantly, his 5th race in a row. 45th career win for Ron Hornaday. Let's take a look at tonight's Stay in the Game with Just for Men hair color moments. And it's Brian Scott.
Setting the steering wheel, getting ready to roll off for battle. But it wasn't an easy battle for this cat.
He's going to take his rightful position back on the starting grid.
Look at that guy trying to get that tire. Finally got it rolled back in there. Then the fuel didn't go in smoothly. And remember, the driver's got a broken wrist.
Yeah, it didn't go in at all.
But he was fast on the racetrack, though, and survived and finished 2nd to Ron Hornaday. And I tell you, that's no small task to finish 2nd to Ron Hornaday.
Let's hear from the driver. He's with Ray Dunlap.
Another great night for Brian Scott. Any consolation to you at all that you finished by the guy that just won 5 in a row?
He's a man in the Truck Series. I congratulate Ron on 5 in a row. That's an awesome accomplishment. I hope someday to accomplish something like that in my career. Man, our Albertsons Toyota Tundra was just great. I wish I could have took a Toyota into victory lane tonight for Toyota and for everybody here, the fans. I got to thank all of them for sitting through the rainstorm. And, you know, we took a run at it. We just weren't good enough. But I'm real proud of my guys. I'm really happy about second. That was a good run. Everybody wants that Les Paul guitar by Sam Bass. It's the coolest trophy out there. But you know, tonight wasn't our night to get it. Ron, he's a legend, and he's the man. Congratulations to him.
Over the last year and a half, Ron Hornaday has gotten some pretty great trophies. I think he's going to savor this one tonight here at Nashville.
Indeed he is, Ray. 5 in a row. His crew chief has won more than any other, and perhaps the best part of this evening for Ron Hornaday, that Gibson guitar. And you can see the emotion as he puts it in his hands. He is ready to play a tune. You have been on a roll, my man. And he's going to share it with his wife. I'll tell you what, you were playing quite a song out there tonight, a dominant race truck. How special does it feel to have finally won at Nashville, and on top of that, making it 5 in a row?
I got to thank them fans. I thought it was going to rain, and them guys just hung out, and to fill them stands up 10 minutes before this race started, that says the NASCAR Camping Truck Series. But I don't know what to say. Mark Smith, I finally got Sam Bass guitar. Finally did it. That is so cool. Me and Mark's going to have a talk. Our throttle's stuck on this thing now. I don't know what the deal is. Rick keeps freeing it up, and I couldn't free it up anymore just because of the throttle was stuck going in the corner, sticking about $4,000, and coming in the pit stops and everything else. I had to lift it up with my toe. But Kevin Delana, thank you. This is with Richard Petty and 5. Can you believe that? That's cool. I got to thank Longhorn, Ream, Hungry Man, KHI, Georgia Boots, VFW, Copart, everybody. I mean, it takes everybody, and I didn't think we had a truck to beat. I mean, the 17 was really good, and they all put 2 tires on, and Rick made the right call and put 4 on there, and you know, we got beat by Johnny last time here by that, so we took to our game plans, and it worked out.
You were cruising at the end, long green flag run, then a caution, and you have to endure a green-white checker in the restart. How concerned were you?
Real concerned. First, Rick said save fuel. I said, how do I save fuel with the throttle stuck half the way up there? So she hit the key off, or the ignition off a couple, 3-4 times maybe, but I'm tired. He's making me get more gray hair. He keeps telling me to save fuel every week, and I'm tired of it. We just gotta go out there, and this truck wants to run. The slower I go, just like Milwaukee, the faster this truck went. When they said there was 10 back there, and I said, well, I'm gonna save a little bit, and all of a sudden I look up, and they said there was 15, and then 20. It's like the slower I drive this truck, the faster we'll come up with the corner, and unbelievable. That just says a lot for everybody. And I got happy birthday to my son. It's his birthday, and Chris Jennings, everybody over in Iraq, all the troops. I thank you guys for what you do, and praise the Lord. I mean, this is unbelievable. 5 for this team. That says a lot for KHI, Rick Wren, Danny Stockman, everybody. I mean, this is so awesome.
2 weeks off for Ron Hornaday. He deserves it. He's won 5 in a row, going for 6 at Bristol, guys.
Well, and back on a concrete racetrack. Ron Hornaday has now won on 29 different racetracks. DW, our partner in the broadcast booth, he only won on 16 different racetracks. We'll be right back to get your response to that.
Want a driver's autograph? Leave it to the driver seeker.
What is that thing? Oh, it's got a peg. Be careful.
It only wanted an autograph.
I believe I got one.
It's been a while since I needed a tie.
Dad, you're gonna get this job. I know it.
Just for Men targets only the gray in 5 easy minutes.
How'd it go, Dad?
Honey, I think I'm gonna need more ties.
Yes!
Just for Men.
Would you like to put a stop to your partner's snoring so you could go to sleep and stay asleep every night? Introducing Pure Sleep, the stop snoring solution. Common snoring is caused when the airway is constricted, causing the soft palate to vibrate. Pure Sleep is a patented self-molded mouthpiece cleared by the FDA, which holds the jaw slightly forward, opening the airway so that the snoring stops. Look at the difference in these before and after images.
That is just the astounding thing. I have not snored. And so this thing works. It's easy to use, easy to mold, works like a charm.
I'm sleeping through the night, and so is he, and we're waking up with more energy and not waking up in the middle of the night to say, shh.
If it doesn't work, we'll refund the purchase price, refund the original shipping charge, and even pay to ship it back. Try Pure Sleep risk-free.
Visit us at puresleep.com.
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is presented to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. Point standings through 14 races. Ron Hornaday now with a 216-point lead over second place, Matt Crafton. Those two switch spots once again as Hornaday holds the checkered flag in victory lane. Thanks again for joining us here on Speed. Toyota Tundra 200 in the books. AMA Pro Racing from Topeka, Kansas will be next right here on Speed, so stick with us. You see Ron Hornaday enjoying victory lane and enjoying that Sam Bass designed Gibson Les Paul guitar. Ray Dunlap has caught up with one of our top finishers.
6 top 10s in his last 7 races. Tell me about your night here at Nashville.
Well, it was exciting. You know, first off, I want to thank the fans for sticking out there in the rain. It was, hope it was a good show. I certainly had a good time. But this number 6 Conway Freight Ford F-150 truck was really fast at points. Seemed like on restarts we really struggled for some reason. I don't know what I got to do to figure that out. But you know, normally I feel like our trucks, and I'm pretty good on restarts, but definitely not this day. You know, I got to figure something out. So we'll see what we can do. It just took us 10, 15 laps to get going. Once we got going, I think our truck was pretty fast.
All right, a good start for Colin Brown and a great finish. He finishes 3rd here at Nashville.
Again, Colin Brown with that 3rd place finish. Lindy and Ron Hornaday with Rick Wren there enjoying 5 in a row, 6 wins in the 2009 season. And DW joining us here. Obviously, we saw a great race, and we saw another dominant performance for Ron Hornaday.
Yeah, see, the thing about Hornaday is if you ask some of those younger drivers what's your favorite track, they're going to name 2 or 3. You ask Hornaday, he's going to name them all.
He's gonna name
he has no track that he doesn't like. Yeah. He's good at every one they go to.
You know what's interesting about tonight, I think he started off this streak of 5 in a row at Milwaukee and Memphis by dominating. There wasn't anybody that was going to beat him. Then he goes to Kentucky and ORP, and he just ekes out victories. He didn't have the best truck, but he got to victory lane. Then he comes here for number 5, domination again.
It looked like maybe Timothy Peters had something for him early on. He jumped out and led the first 30-some laps. Then once Hornaday got in front, even though he got behind a little bit on pit stops, he was able to make his way right back to the front, and then he looked like he ran only as fast as he had to.
It just seems like he and Wren together, they had this, they know what they need for the long haul. What's going to make their truck good at the end of the night, not necessarily at the beginning, but at the end.
And he told him it was a great call to put 4 tires on. Some of those other guys did too. He said Rick Wren made the right call, put 4 on.
DW, our next stop is Bristol. What advice do you give Ron Hornaday?
Keep it low.
Keep it low at Bristol. Again, AMA Pro Racing coming up right here from Topeka, Kansas on Speed, so stay with us. History was made, and you were able to witness it. Ron Hornaday becomes the first driver since Richard Petty and Bobby Allison to win 5 races in a row.
Get ready for weeknight truck racing from the world's fastest half mile. The trucks head to Bristol in 2 weeks for the only midweek show in NASCAR.